A man shows up to take the academy entrance exam and shocks the world's greatest female sword god, because the moment the match begins, he vanishes behind the examiner, and with one swift strike takes the examiner down. The sight moves the sword god, who has never taken a student, to consider doing so for the first time, and she senses something else, a mysterious power lurking within him. What none of them know is this: in his previous life, he had already reached the pinnacle of swordsmanship, an undefeated sword god. He fought alone and wounded humanity's greatest enemy, but he underestimated the Liquidator. One strike, and his heart was pierced clean through. I thought that was the end, but the next moment I find myself in a mysterious space, face to face with a being who calls himself Kronos, the god of time. He tells me I carry a power greater than the Liquidators, but it has never been awakened, so he gives me a chance to be reborn with my memories and my soul intact. Everything resets to zero. Kronos entrusts the fate of this world to me. When I open my eyes again, I am lying in an open field, and the village in the distance, that is my hometown, the village of Reynado. The shock hits me like a wall. Did I actually go back? Then a sharp sting shoots through my arm. I look at the wound. This is from Beld, from the last time he and his crew came after me. I make a silent vow. Never again will I lose to someone like him. 10 years from now, the Liquidator will appear in this world. His power is overwhelming. No one in the entire world can stand against him. But Kronos said my power surpasses even his. It just hasn't been awakened yet. Just as I am about to head back and think things through, I run straight into Beld, the guy who has been tormenting me for years. He has been looking for me everywhere, and of all places, he finds me here in the forest. He throws a sword at my feet. He tells me to fight him in a practice match today, or I am not leaving. I cannot be bothered. I tell him my injuries have not healed yet. We can fight when they do. Beld tells me not to worry. The swords are blunted, so it is perfectly safe. And before the words are even out of his mouth, he charges straight at me. He swings hard and fast, but I step aside without a second thought. I have lived through countless battles. To me, Beld's sword moves like it is standing still. Everyone watching is stunned. Since when did he get this fast? I step back to keep some distance and pick up the sword on the ground. If he is asking for it, I am happy to give him exactly what he wants. The moment I grab the sword, Beld charges again. I rise and strike back in one motion, and his sword goes flying. Beld is caught off guard. He tells himself that was just a fluke, but the next second I flash him a grin. Don't worry, I say. Blunted swords are perfectly safe, remember? And I bring the sword down on him. Even with a blunted blade, I carve a gash across his shoulder. He drops to his knees, hands pressed hard against the wound, as blood seeps through his fingers. All of this is exactly as I expected, but I am not done yet. While he is still frozen in shock, I slam the flat of the blade across his mouth. The impact knocks several of Beld's teeth clean out. Beld is shaking now. How did you get so strong? He stammers. Desperate, Beld signals his crew to jump in. In under 3 seconds, they have a plan. He's gotten strong. Rush him from behind all at once. Moments later, they have me surrounded. I let out a cold laugh. You all want the same thing Beld just got? They are not listening. They come at me all at once. I smile again. I was going to let you walk away, but you had your chance. 10 minutes later, every one of them is on the ground. I used to be terrified of these guys, and now I put them all down without breaking a sweat. If I recall correctly, they train at the Saria Swordsmanship Dojo, and I am right, except they have been skipping practice lately, figuring they are already strong enough. I almost feel sorry for them. This is what passes for strong around here? The dojo probably has nothing to offer me in terms of raw skill, but there is one thing I need from it. I have never been there myself, but I remember. You need a recommendation just to get in. Beld tells me to ask someone else. If his master finds out he lost, he is going to be punished. My answer is a single effortless sword swing. Stop talking, I say. Do what I told you. The blade passes and a leaf splits in two right in front of Beld's face. Beld bolts. Let me show you the way, he says. The dojo is right over here. I'll take you there myself. On the way there, Beld asks why I even want to go. With my strength, the dojo should be pointless. I tell him the dojo holds a recommendation slot for the academy. That is what I am after. Someone nearby mutters under his breath, even if it is the academy, someone as strong as me has no need to go. His words pull me into memory. If this were truly enough, I would not bother. But it is far from enough. Even the strongest force in the world could not survive a single blow from the Liquidator. Even when I unleashed the mysterious power, the moment the Liquidator got serious, I could not touch him. I do not know how strong I need to become to defeat him, but in that moment, brief as it was, I truly held the dark force in my grasp, and for that instant, I stood as the greatest sword god. Back then, I focused only on the swordsmanship the Sword Saint had taught me. If I could train across multiple sword disciplines at once, the way the Sword Saint did, my power might grow in ways I cannot yet imagine. But wielding the dark force to become a sword god in my past life, that was only a fleeting moment. My true swordsmanship was still too raw, so I believe this is exactly why Kronos, the god of time, sent me back. A short while later, I arrive at the dojo. The master apologizes for her students' behavior. She has already expelled them. She will not tolerate that kind of conduct from her students. I get straight to the point. I heard you can write a recommendation letter for the academy. I am here to ask for that. At that, she slowly draws a sword. She says she is willing to write it, but first, she needs to see what I can do. She tells me to make the first move. Come at her whenever I am ready. I do not hesitate. The moment she finishes speaking, I close the distance. In just 3 seconds, we exchange over a dozen blows. The master's mind races. Something is off about this one. To her eyes, the swordsmanship I show at my age is razor-sharp and deeply practical, as if forged through countless real battles. No wonder Beld lost. He never stood a chance. Yet something else catches her eye. My style feels mostly self-taught, but every now and then there are traces of formal academy technique. Has someone trained him before? In the end, the master reaches a verdict. My swordsmanship is rough, but the talent is undeniably there. A quiet smile crosses her lips. A diamond in the rough, just waiting to be shaped. Then she decides it is time to wrap things up. A shame to end it, but the moment has come. But I saw through her the whole time. I have been waiting for exactly this. I surge forward and knock the sword right out of her hand. The master's eyes go wide. After that, no matter how many strikes she throws, I block every single one. She cannot figure it out. Why do I not fall back? How am I keeping up with her? She only meant to test me lightly. Now she finds herself going all out. And then, something she has not felt in a long time. Fear. The realization shocks her. At that very moment, I raise my sword, and the mysterious power begins to radiate from my body. Without even realizing it, the power has awakened. The instant she rushes in, I swing, and a faint trail of dark energy tears through the air. But the master does not meet it. She pulls back instantly. A sense of dread told her not to, and that surge of mysterious power has drained me. My body feels hollow. The master seizes the opening. She moves in for the finishing blow. Her instinct was right. She just never took the strike, so she never felt what it carried. But when her sword comes down, the expression on her face turns to pure shock. Her sword is broken, snapped clean through, and she never even noticed it happen. My earlier strike had already cut through her wooden sword. If she had pushed forward then, it would not have been the blade that broke. I am just as stunned. I have tapped into that power from my past life, again. Then my mind goes completely blank, and I drop to my knees right in front of her. This makes one thing clear. My body is nowhere near ready to handle this power. I force myself to stand. I'm fine, I say. I consider whether to tell her about the power. She is clearly strong, stronger than most, but I let the thought go. She would never believe me. And honestly, I cannot even control it myself. I give a quiet laugh. I just got a little carried away, that's all. The master stares at the broken sword with an iron expression. Logically, this should be impossible. A blunted blade should not be able to do this, and she is certain I know it too. Seeing how serious she looks, I play dumb immediately. What's wrong? She slowly closes her eyes. If I'm not going to talk, she is not going to push. Then she turns to face me. You wanted a recommendation letter for the academy, correct? She says she can write one. A letter recommending me to the Royal Sword Academy, the finest institution in the kingdom, but she will not send me there. Her reason is simple. That place is not right for me. Disappointment hits me hard, but she is not wrong. Where I stand right now, I would barely make an impression. I lack raw power and my technical swordsmanship still has a long way to go. But then she shifts completely. Don't misunderstand me, she says. The place you should be going is the World United Academy. Those words hit me like a thunderbolt. This is not the top academy in the kingdom. This is the top academy in the entire world. Countless legends have walked out of those gates. And this is the very academy where the Sword Saint himself was trained. I stare at her in disbelief. With my current strength, how could they ever accept me? She knows this better than anyone. You already sense it yourself. Your body is far from meeting the standard of a proper swordsman. At the Royal Sword Academy, maybe your technique could carry you through, but at the World United Academy, that will never work. Even she cannot understand how I developed this level of skill in such a frail body. I let out a quiet sigh inside. Every student at that academy is a monster. With this body, I do not even qualify to compete. The master tells me not to lose heart. There are 9 months before the exam. It is tight, but there is still time. My heart jumps. Is she saying what I think she is saying? And sure enough, just as I hoped, the master tells me to prepare myself for suffering, because what she has planned for me is nothing short of hellish training. I have no idea just how brutal it will be, but this is exactly what I wanted. Then for the next 9 months, I am in your hands, master. Whatever it takes, I will give everything I have. From that day on, I follow the master's training plan to the letter. Every single day is relentless. Beyond the training, I have to fuel my body. The master prepares heaps of meat for me, and spirit elixirs so bitter they make me gag. All of it to forge my body into something tougher. But the heart of it all is swordsmanship. Training with the master consumes most of my days. 8 months pass in the blink of an eye. My physical condition is transformed. The master says there is little left she can teach me now. The next step is to set out for the World United Academy with confidence. There is still a month to go, but the master thinks I should not walk into that exam in an unfamiliar place. Better to arrive early and get a feel for it. Before I leave, she also makes sure I have more than enough money for the journey. I take the travel funds she hands me and make a silent promise. I will not let her down. I am ready to leave. Destination: the World United Academy. The master gives a small smile. I will be praying for you to pass. Write to me when you do. Over 20 days later, I finally arrive at the World United Academy. I have never seen anywhere this grand in my life. And now the academy is about to distribute the exam entry passes. The candidates here are beyond counting, but only around 20 will make it through. The word is the number changes dramatically every year. Sometimes 50, sometimes just 1, sometimes several hundred. No one ever knows. Before long, a red-haired woman steps forward to address the crowd. Let's get straight to it, she says. Entry passes are now being distributed. Candidates, please take the pass in front of you. She snaps her fingers. The moment it sounds, a golden light washes over the entire crowd. And just like that, a slip of paper appears in every candidate's hand. Mine reads, Candidate number 513, Foundation Course. Her voice carries from the platform above. Some of you may be surprised to find nothing on the pass except your number and course. Do not be alarmed, it is the same every year. The World United Academy does not discriminate based on age, gender, nationality, background, or anything else. Here, even your name means nothing. Only those who pass the exam and earn the right to cross the bridge will be asked for their name, and if they prefer, they may even give a false one. It makes no difference. This surprises me. I never told anyone I wanted the sword arts course. So how did they know? It turns out she assigned courses based on appearance alone. She says if anyone was assigned the wrong course, raise your hand, and she will personally kneel and apologize. Nobody buys it. There is no way. They must have investigated everyone beforehand. Some even whisper that she used some kind of mind-reading magic. After a moment of silence, no hands go up. She moves on and announces the exam schedule. The moment she finishes speaking, numbers appear on my pass. Sword arts course, day 1, 11 in the morning. I cursed under my breath. Day 1 already? I was hoping for time to let my arm recover. The red-haired woman speaks again. This is a one-time practical exam. Anyone who arrives late is automatically disqualified. Be there on time. Individual requests to reschedule will not be considered. I reach up and touch my arm. A few more days would have made all the difference. On the road here, I ran into ogres and their general. Cornered and outmatched, I tapped into the mysterious power once more. One strike. The ogre general was gone. I needed a long time to recover after that, which is why I only arrived on the final day before exams. My arm took serious damage in that fight. It looks like I will have to walk into this exam injured. Soon, a staff member comes to tell me it is time. I am up. I take a slow, deep breath. This is not the moment to be pessimistic. My left arm is fully functional, and my right can still move to some degree. That should be enough to get through this. The moment the match begins, I need to find the examiner's weakness fast and put him down before time runs out. Just ahead, another candidate is in the middle of his match against the examiner. The examiner drops low in an instant, then drives a single swing that sends the stocky candidate flying. The defeated candidate retrieves his weapon and walks off the floor. A grim smile crosses my lips. I am in trouble. With my arm this damaged, taking him down quickly is going to be nearly impossible. The examiner finishes off the candidate. He turns and calls out to me. You're next. Stop dragging your feet. I walk onto the floor slowly. My confidence is shaky. My right hand is in bad shape. The examiner stands with his hands clasped behind his back. You may attack first. Give it everything you have. I tighten my grip on the hilt. He does not need to tell me. This is my only shot. I explode forward. And in that instant, the master's words come back to me. She said a sword strike is not just the arm. It is the force generated by the entire body, channeled through the arm. Now is the time to put that into practice. Even if my right arm is weak, as long as I can route the force through the rest of my body, it will work. I close the distance and swing. I followed her teaching, but I still cannot fight the way I normally would. The arm is holding me back more than I expected. If striking without arm strength were easy, no one would ever bother training their body in the first place. The examiner finds my opening and moves to counter. I am not letting that happen. Then something strikes me. Why is his sword moving so slowly? He would not be standing here if he were not strong. Which means only one thing. My speed has increased. The examiner's blade cuts through the air with a whoosh, and I deflect it without any real effort. I measure the gap between him and the master. His raw power is impressive, but his speed and technique fall far short of hers. If I lean on the swordsmanship she taught me, I might be able to bridge the gap that my arm is leaving. We trade blows for tens of seconds, the sharp crack of clashing blades ringing through the air. Gradually it becomes clear. My speed is outpacing him. I was right. He cannot keep up. Panic flashes across the examiner's face. His expression twists. That look gives me a spark of hope. He is not as strong as I feared. I still have a chance. Just like the master said, she was certain I would pass. With a sharp ring, our blades crash together again. This time I have the edge. A flick of my wrist and his sword goes flying. Now it is my turn. I feel it now. Real confidence. Even with a useless right hand, I know I can win. But the examiner is fast. He pulls his sword back in an instant and fires off a rapid chain of counters. But every single move is visible to me. I read each one before it lands. His swordsmanship holds no more secrets. The next second, I load everything into my left hand. A clean, no frills thrust straight at his body, and he blocks it. And that tells me something. The gap between us is still too wide. I cannot break through his guard. Winning with one arm is not going to be simple. Things look a little grim, but his movements are getting sloppier. It is risky, but this might be the opening I need. I deliberately show him an opening, and sure enough, he takes the bait exactly as I expected. My heart is pounding. I have to take the hit that is coming. I cannot afford a single mistake. The examiner swings without hesitation. He thinks this ends it, but I smile. Finally, I think, there it is. This is exactly the moment I've been waiting for. I coil my body and drive every ounce of force into my legs. Then I explode and vanish from where I stood. An instant later, I am behind him. There is no better position than this. No matter how wide the power gap is, once I am at his back, it is over. The examiner's eyes go wide with shock. He never imagined I could move that fast, and I am not giving him time to react. Let this end. But just as I am about to drive the blade in, a voice from above shouts, "Stop!" I freeze immediately. The sword hovers at his back. I look up in confusion. Are they calling my victory? But I have not struck him yet. A voice from above announces that time is up. The result is a draw. The shock is like cold water. I was so locked into the fight I completely forgot. The match is only 3 minutes long. The regret is overwhelming. I have let the master down. The frustration rises until it is unbearable. My grip tightens on the sword, releases, tightens again. I turn and walk off the floor. I gave everything I had. If not for my arm, I would have finished him in seconds. If I cannot even beat this examiner, the road ahead is going to be brutal. I stop and turn slowly. My arm should be healed by next year. I will come back and try again. Time moves fast. A week passes. Inside the academy, 6 people sit around a large round table in discussion. The elder who carries the most authority speaks first. Now that the exams are done, what are your thoughts on the candidates? Anyone have something to add? 2 instructors groan about exhaustion. One argues that having everyone observe together is inefficient. Next year we should divide divide the work, but another cuts in. We cannot afford to miss a genius just because we want an easier schedule. The elder slowly raises his hand, a trace of irritation in his voice. I asked for your thoughts on the students, not on the exam system. The next moment, full recordings of every candidate's exam appear in the room. They will review these recordings to assess standout performances, then weigh each candidate's qualities and strength before deciding on admissions. The latest batch reviewed is the Sword Arts course. Besides those who defeated the examiner outright, candidate number 5Z17 and candidate number 753 stand out. One instructor suggests that the rest would not be able to keep up with the coursework regardless. Let's stop here. Silence falls over the room. The elder is still watching. After a long pause, he finally speaks. Then the accepted candidates for the Sword Arts course are confirmed. Any final additions? Just then, one voice speaks up. Did none of you notice candidate number 513? The elder's gaze sharpened slightly. Is there something remarkable about candidate 513? The one who spoke is Professor Ariel. What do you all make of candidate 513? Every instructor turns their attention to the recording of candidate 513. One instructor scoffs. Seems pretty average to me, and left-handed on top of that. He admits he caught part of the match. It did look like I was about to win, but if I need to rely on traps and bait to beat an examiner, the road ahead will be difficult. His technique is solid, but the power deficit is clear. Another instructor feels I was on the back foot the whole time. After watching the full match, they conclude the kid is not a fit for this academy. Everyone dismisses the recording. Heads shake around the table. Professor Ariel opens her mouth slightly, then closes it again. Inside, she is delighted. All these people watching, and not one of them sees it. If they are all this blind, then having everyone observe together really is a waste. This gem is all mine. The next day comes quickly. Everyone gathers in the central plaza. My candidate number is 513. If the entry pass in my hand catches fire, it means I have been accepted. A loud announcement rings out across the plaza. The Sword Arts course results are about to be announced. 6 candidates have passed. My heart tightens. This is it. Moments after the announcement, 2 entry passes burst into flame. Candidate number 5 and candidate number 217. Then candidate numbers 432 and 615, followed by 753 and 925. That concludes the list. 6 candidates have been accepted into the Sword Arts course. I stare blankly. My pass has not lit up. I failed. Successful candidates, please cross the bridge before the end of today and complete your registration. The accepted candidates laugh and cheer around me. I stand there with nothing but grief. The sadness is crushing. I have let the master down after all. I do not know what comes next. Go to the Royal Sword Academy instead, but before I can sink any further, the broadcast cuts in again. The following is the Eye of God special admission. The next moment, my entry pass glows with a blue light. Candidate number 513, accepted. My face goes blank with disbelief. Not just me, everyone around is stunned. No one expected an Eye of God special admission this year. The shock refuses to settle. Did I actually just pass? Nearby, someone gives a dismissive laugh. Eye of God special admission again. Haven't seen one of those in a while. I have no idea what the Eye of God special admission even is. This is the first time I have heard of it, but the looks I get are full of contempt. That's just backdoor admission, someone mutters. The World United Academy has really fallen. I am caught off guard. So the Eye of God special admission is seen as backdoor? My mind goes straight to the master. I have no connections of my own, but her network may run far deeper than I ever imagined. Deep enough to get me into the World United Academy. But the elder steps in and cuts them off. You two, enough. Do not speak of the Eye of God special admission that way. The Eye of God special admission is a category of honor that has produced countless heroes over a century. You young fools know nothing. The two of them just laugh. The old ones sure do love their Eye of God, don't they? That glory is ancient history. It is not that they are ignorant. In recent years, those admitted through the Eye of God special admission include Amy White, Bella Albright, Rick Muller, and Jacob Bloomfield. All of them, Eye of God. But every single one of them failed completely. Even current candidates know this. So now the Eye of God special admission is a punchline, a backdoor pass. Amy White, in my past life, she became someone on the level of a sword god. And Bella Albright, the world's greatest mage. Those 3 were the core of the force sent to fight the Liquidator, and they were all special. Admission. That realization makes me swallow hard. Which means my name now stands alongside theirs. The broadcast announces that the entrance ceremony will begin in 30 minutes. Those who have changed into their uniforms, please gather in the plaza in front of the main building. By this point, I have already changed along with the other students, but we wait, and no one comes. We begin to wonder if we are in the wrong place. Then an instructor comes rushing over, breathless, apologizing profusely. A scheduling mix-up. They are still setting up the venue. He is sorry for the delay. He asks everyone to step back a bit, so he can place the stairway here. Everyone backs up 10 meters, and then we see it. A golden magical pattern forming on the ground. Everyone is puzzled. What exactly is this instructor doing? He slowly places his hand flat on the ground. In an instant, golden magic begins spreading outward from his palm. At the same time, a golden magic formation lights up across the entire plaza. A golden staircase rises from the ground, stretching up toward the entrance ahead. Everyone is stunned. What kind of power is this? The density of that magic is unlike anything we have seen. And this is just one of the Academy's instructors? In the blink of an eye, golden staircases rise on both sides of the main building. Every student stands there, breathless with awe. The instructor smiles quietly. You may go up now. Find a seat wherever you like. Everyone is in awe of the massive magical teleportation formation from moments ago. I don't bother picking a spot. I just drop into the nearest empty seat. My guess is they wanted the enrollment ceremony held somewhere with a view of the campus buildings. What an extravagant use of teleportation magic. But regardless, I finally made it into the World United Academy. And after seeing the strength of the instructors over these past 2 days, I can only marvel at just how formidable this place truly is. Ahead of me, someone is puzzled. Aren't there a few too many seats? If only 30 students were admitted, there's no way they'd need this many. Someone else laughs. You really don't know? The first person isn't the least bit embarrassed. He's devoted his life to the sword. He never bothered learning about anything else. A girl snaps her fingers. In that case, allow me to fill you in. The World United Academy is exactly what the name suggests. It gathers the finest students from every corner of the globe. So it's not just us. Candidates from all over the world are being evaluated and admitted. She raises her hand and points upward. Look at the sky. They're already here. The next moment, the sword. Focused student's jaw drops. The sky above is filled with airships, and among them, magical beasts. He shoots to his feet in shock. The sheer scale of it is overwhelming. I notice a smaller vessel hanging beneath one of the airships. My eyes go wide. That's the Strato airship. I boarded it once, back when I was a member of the Liquidator squad. It's said to be one of the largest airships in the world, and they've deployed it just for an enrollment ceremony. Then again, it's perfectly on brand for the World United Academy. Everything they do has to make a statement. Once the airships touch down, students begin filing in one after another from every nation on Earth. Then a large hand comes to rest on the podium. It seems everyone has arrived. The enrollment ceremony will now begin. Half an hour of speeches passes in what feels like no time. It nearly puts me to sleep. Turns out even the World United Academy's enrollment ceremony is just as dull as any other school's. Just then, a student near me rises. Next up are the speeches from each course's top student. First is Leonhardt, top student of the Sword Arts course. The moment he steps onto the stage, murmurs sweep through the crowd. Is that really the one who took down an examiner in an instant during the entrance exam? Rumor has it his swordsmanship rivals that of any professor in the academy. This is Leonhardt Appius, a true undisputed genius of the sword. I study him with genuine curiosity. The guy is striking, I'll give him that. But I don't recall hearing of any great feats he accomplished in my past life. Leonhardt greets the faculty, then asks a question, whether he's free to speak his mind. The instructors nod. With the answer he wanted, he steps forward to speak, and his very first words leave everyone stunned. I have a formal complaint to lodge against the academy, but first, let me say hello to all of you who were admitted through proper channels. It is my honor to stand alongside you as fellow students of this academy. Let us strive together, so that when we graduate, we may each make a meaningful contribution to this world. The crowd is unmoved. The speech is painfully generic. Nobody cares. What they really want to know about is the complaint. There's no applause from below, but Leonhardt doesn't seem to mind. I look forward to the day we walk forward together, side by side, as students of this great institution. Then his tone shifts. His gaze cuts straight to Professor Ariel at the back. Unfortunately, there is someone among us who has no right to be here. Am I wrong, Professor Ariel? The Eye of God herself? Professor Ariel clearly didn't expect to be called out. This kid has no idea who he's dealing with, but she smiles and responds calmly. Every student here passed a rigorous examination. They may not be as strong as you, but excluding them would hardly be wise. Ariel's smile sharpens. Why are you directing this at me? Are you suggesting my Eye of God is somehow unfair? That's exactly the opening Leonhardt was waiting for. I'm not talking about those who passed through official exams. He means the student Ariel slipped in through the back door, admitted under the Eye of God special admission. Ariel doesn't get angry, she laughs. This little brat really has no fear. Whether it's arrogance or confidence, she can't quite tell. Leonhardt throws out his arm and demands, whoever was admitted through that special slot, step forward, return your uniform and leave this academy. You don't belong here. Nobody moves. Apart from the 30 on our side who know my face, the hundreds of other students have never seen me. They're all curious to see who Leonhardt is talking about. And I'm certainly not stupid enough to stand up in front of this many people. But what's with Leonhardt's hostility? Where is it even coming from? Lucky he doesn't know my face. That was a close call. If I just stay quiet, maybe I can stay out of this entirely. Ariel lets out a laugh. The new students this year are certainly lively. Leonhardt bristles. Professor, I'm completely serious. Stop admitting students through back channels. In an instant, Ariel appears behind him. Do you honestly think you're stronger than the one I chose? The entire hall goes silent. Leonhardt is the top student of the Sword Arts course, and Ariel is implying he might not measure up to some special admission student? Even Leonhardt is caught off guard. Professor, that joke goes a little far. How could I possibly be weaker than some backdoor student? For someone as proud as Leonhardt, those words are a direct insult. He meets Ariel's gaze head on. I'm stronger, without question. Ariel isn't offended. If anything, she likes his spirit. Then how about a wager? Leonhardt frowns. What is there even to bet on? Just bring the guy up here and they can settle it right now. He'd leave voluntarily if he lost. But out of courtesy, he asks what the stakes are. Ariel's expression shifts. My position at this academy and that student's right to remain in it. Both Leonhardt and I freeze. Professor Ariel is genuinely something else, but I can't help feeling she's being reckless. My arm is injured. There's no way I could beat him right now. Has she not noticed? Leonhardt narrows his eyes. Are you planning to have me fight the special admission student? Ariel shakes her head. I would never do something so crude. If you fought at full strength, the other student might not survive. As an educator, I will never gamble with a student's life. A vein pulses at Leonhardt's temple. He's furious. Professor, he says through gritted teeth, are you provoking me? Because if that's what this is, I'll take any challenge, even one that might kill me. But Ariel is completely serious. Let's use monsters as the benchmark instead. Much safer that way. She's well aware that Leonhardt is particularly skilled at taking down monsters. Leonhardt's mouth twitches. switches. Your sources are thorough, I see. What exactly are the terms? Ariel keeps it simple. Each side just has to kill a designated monster target. The contest runs in rounds, with each target growing stronger than the last. Whoever fails first loses. If her side loses, she resigns her position, and all special admission students are expelled. I let out a long sigh. What a mess. All I wanted was to train my swordsmanship in peace. And if Leonhardt loses, things proceed exactly as Ariel has laid out. Ariel steps right up to him, a challenge gleaming in her eyes. So, do you accept or don't you? Leonhardt is confident in his own strength, but he needs to know what monster he'd be up against first. That's one thing you have to respect about Leonhardt. He never lets confidence turn into recklessness. He's sure he can handle anything, but he refuses to walk blindly into a trap. Ariel nods approvingly, then pretends to think it over. How about an Ogre General as your first target? If that's too easy, I can always raise the difficulty. The crowd erupts. An Ogre General? How could anyone at their level possibly take one of those on? But I'm puzzled. Why specifically an Ogre General? Could Leonhardt actually be right? Is there some scheme buried in this? Leonhardt slams his fist on the table. Professor Ariel, I respect you, but are you serious right now? An Ogre General, he says, voice tight with frustration, is not a monster anyone can take down alone. Ariel clarifies, of course she doesn't mean right now. She's setting the time frame at a full year. Surely that's reasonable. Leonhardt still isn't satisfied. If someone could train for a single year and solo a disaster class monster, people wouldn't be suffering the way they are. Pick a realistic target. Nobody can do what you're describing. Hearing Ariel's terms, my mouth opens slightly. Then the corner of my mouth curls into a smile. I finally understand what she's after. Meanwhile, Leonhardt, still completely unaware he's already walked into the trap, keeps talking. You deliberately picked a target nobody can beat, so there's no clear winner, and this whole bet just fizzles out. I won't agree to that. Ariel doesn't argue. She simply takes a few slow steps forward. Fine. One more condition. If it's a draw, you win. Leonhardt goes still. So if the special admission student fails to defeat the Ogre General, Ariel automatically loses her position, and every special admission student gets expelled. Ariel watches him with an amused expression. Well, what do you think of those terms? Leonhardt thinks she must have lost her mind. He's starting to feel like the outcome of this bet was decided before it even began. Professor Ariel laughs and turns away. I take it you have no further objections, then it's settled. Leonhardt isn't fully at ease yet. Just to be clear, it has to be a fully intact Ogre General. No weakened or otherwise compromised versions, right? Of course, Ariel says. Her fingers drift through the air in a loose, casual motion. A deep violet energy gathers at her ring. She's forming a magic contract. A quill pen materializes and begins writing the terms across the air. In moments, the contract is complete and floating before Leonhardt. Every detail is written in full. If he has no objections, he may sign now. Leonhardt reads it carefully, no issues. He picks up the quill and writes his name. He accepts the bet. With his name on the contract, Leonhardt is certain of victory. Still, he asks, do you really think that kid can win? Ariel simply says she doesn't know. It depends on how hard he's willing to train. With that, Professor Ariel returns calmly to her seat. The other instructors are convinced she's lost it. Some suspect she's simply looking for an excuse to retire. From my seat, I let out a long breath. These people really know how to make things complicated. But the moment Ariel extended the time frame to a full year, something felt off. Could she be counting the battle I fought before even enrolling? Right then, Ariel's eyes meet mine. My heart jolts. That look confirms it. I guessed right. This bet was decided from the very beginning. Ariel raises a finger to her lips, her eyes dancing with mischief. I have to hand it to her. She's far more calculating than she lets on. And just like that, my first class begins. Magic. The instructor speaks from the podium at a measured pace. Some of you may be surprised that we're jumping straight into lessons on the very first day, but as students of this academy, remember, not a single day can be wasted. He then launches into the fundamentals, specifically how to channel magic. Within each of us flows an invisible energy called ether. By manipulating the magic circuits inside our bodies, we are able to cast magic. I'm sitting all the way in the back row. I was worried I might struggle to keep up, but so far it's manageable. I heard this exact explanation back at training camp. My gaze drifts downward. There's still one very annoying problem. I've been put in the same class as that insufferable guy. I laugh bitterly to myself. I don't have time for this. I just need him to not figure out that I'm the Eye of God special admission student. But the instructor catches my expression. You there, on the far right. You look like you're finding this rather dull. Turns out he's had his eye on me this whole time. Less than 5 minutes into class and you're already looking around. Quite bold of you. I didn't expect him to catch me from the back row of all places. I'm sorry, I say quickly. His book snaps shut. If you're that confident, why not show the rest of us what you've got? He assumes I at least know basic magic. But before he can finish, I cut in. Respectfully, Professor, I'm in the sword arts course. I assume not knowing magic would be fine. The instructor scoffs. Even if all you use in combat is a sword, you still need to understand the basics so you can coordinate with mages. You need to know at least the fundamentals. That catches me off guard. His explanation is word for word what I heard at training camp. Does that mean the spells he's about to teach us will be the same ones too? Before he can say it, I jump ahead. Would the spell happen to be the ether bullet? The instructor blinks, visibly caught off guard. You know it already? Can you actually use the ether bullet? Thank everything holy, that hellish training camp finally paid off. The instructor sees an opportunity. He calls for a demonstration, a duel. Leonhardt, you can use the ether bullet as well, correct? Leonhardt rises from his seat. Yes, Professor. I've trained with the ether bullet. That said, Professor, my training extends well beyond swordsmanship, magic included, and all of it before I even enrolled here. Pitting him against me in a live match might be a bit of a risk. The instructor waves it off. No matter the gap in strength, you're only using ether bullets. He won't die. The student behind you is this year's Eye of God admission. Don't hold back. At that, the entire class turns to look, everyone eager to catch a glimpse of the Eye of God student. A cold feeling washes over me. Suddenly I'm at the center of everything, a target. This rotten instructor just almost gave everything away. The instructor gives me a sly look as if to say, let's see just how impressive you really are since you're too good to pay attention in my class. Leonhardt rises slowly. In that case, I suppose I need to teach him some manners. He turns, fury burning in his eyes. I'll show him exactly what kind of place this academy is. I genuinely don't understand him. He does his genius thing, I do my special admission thing. What's the problem? We could easily just leave each other alone. An awkward look crosses my face. I have no idea how long this guy is going to keep coming after me. A moment later, Leonhardt and I are both standing at the front of the class. The instructor tells us to fire our ether bullets at each other on his signal. I'm honestly not feeling great about this. I only trained in magic for a few days back at camp. The instructor says I won't die, but walking away unscathed seems unlikely. The instant the instructor gives the signal, Leonhardt has an ether bullet forming in his hand. I'll show you exactly how wide the gap between us is, he says with contempt. With no other option, I raise my hand and channel the ether bullet I learned at training camp. Leonhardt's ether bullet fires, and it's tiny. Mine, on the other hand, is the size of a cannon shot, roughly 300 times larger than his. For a moment, neither of us moves, but the ether bullet is already released. There's no stopping it now. Leonhardt goes pale. A hit from something that size would kill him without question. The instructor throws up his arm. A golden magic surges across it. It forms a barrier that catches the ether bullet and saves Leonhardt's life. The instructor is shaken to his core. That was too close. But how? How did this student produce an ether bullet of that scale? Before he can process it, cracks begin spreading across the barrier. The next second, the whole thing shatters. A massive shockwave blasts both of them off their feet. The force of the aftershock sends everyone scrambling, eyes forced shut against the pressure. Leonhardt flies backward, his whole body absorbing the full force of the impact. The instructor rushes over. Are you all right? He reaches him and finds Leonhardt trembling. Leonhardt forces himself upright. I'm fine, he says, but if it weren't for your barrier, I'd be dead. After confirming Leonhardt isn't seriously hurt, the instructor's gaze locks onto me. Without that barrier absorbing the blast, that strike would have been fatal. Just who is this young man? The instructor decides he needs to have a proper talk with me. There are things he needs to understand. Not even among the professors has he seen an ether bullet of that magnitude. He feels like he stumbled onto something extraordinary. Meanwhile, I stare at my own hand, genuinely confused. Why was Leonhardt's ether bullet so different from mine? His was so weak. That couldn't be the same spell I know. Could the ether bullet I learned from the Liquidator squad be different from what's taught here? It was future knowledge, magic from 10 years ahead. Still, I keep a puzzled expression and ask the instructor, did I use the wrong spell? The instructor sighs. The spell you used was unmistakably ether. There's no mistake there. But the quality of your ether bullet was different. What you just fired was not an ordinary ether bullet, as far as the instructor can tell. What I produced was a super compressed ether bullet. The entire class goes still. None of them have ever heard of compressed magic before. The instructor attempts to replicate what I did, but his version is a fraction of the size. This is a force even the professors struggle to control. Yet I didn't just produce it, I shaped it into a spell. No one in this entire academy can do what I just did. The students erupt in hushed whispers. That's the most powerful ether bullet I've ever seen. Was this the whole point of the Eye of God special admission? If so, why not just put him straight into the magic program? The special track doesn't make sense. Their murmurs make me think. Every spell I learned at the Liquidator squad training camp was like this. And honestly, even among them, I was considered the one lacking magical talent. So I can't quite take the instructor's words seriously. Are you joking, Professor? With enough practice, shouldn't anyone be able to do something similar? The instructor bursts out laughing. I'm genuinely confused. Was I wrong? His laughter grows louder. You really are a genius. Having you train with a sword is a crime against talent. That catches me off guard. Surely it's not that dramatic. The instructor steps right up to me. Transfer to the magic department. Become my personal disciple. I'll vouch for you personally, and I'll teach your magic myself. Your talent for magic far exceeds your talent for the sword. I'm certain of it. I decline without hesitation. I'll pass. Everyone's always told me I'm not cut out for magic. The instructor brushes off my refusal entirely. Those people simply had no eye for talent. You've already mastered the ether compression technique, and at your age, you've produced a super compressed ether spell. By this academy standards, you are an unparalleled genius. I will personally guarantee that. I don't know who told you that you had no magical talent, but they clearly had no idea what they were talking about. Gray, are you truly not considering a transfer to the magic course? His words send ripples through the class. For a professor who almost never hands out praise, this is extraordinary. The instructor raises a finger. If you walk away from magic, it will be the greatest loss this world has ever seen. I'd go so far as to call it a crime against magic itself. I laugh. Professor, you're exaggerating. Just then, something clicks. The instructor mentioned ether compression technique. I've heard that term before. My mind drifts back. Someone once told me, you don't yet know about OD organic drive, the life force within living beings. Because of that, casting any meaningful magic is extremely difficult. So you must maintain compression within your body and try to gather and use only the portions where OD happens to blend in naturally. That's what our instructor used to say. The voice in my memory continues. Sounds almost laughable now, doesn't it? I come back to the present and ask the instructor, have you ever heard of OD? He looks completely blank. OD? What's that? His reaction confirms it. The world hasn't discovered OD yet. If that's the case, then everything I learned with the Liquidator squad is knowledge from the future. Knowledge this world has yet to uncover. I need to be very careful about who I share it with. One wrong move and things could spiral out of control. The instructor looks at me with barely contained excitement. Will you transfer to the magic course? I appreciate the offer, Professor, but I love the sword. I'm going to have to decline. The instructor sighs, resigned. If your mind is made up, there's nothing I can do. But he makes one thing clear. If I ever change my mind, I can come find him anytime. His door is always open. I scratch the back of my head a little awkward. I genuinely appreciate it, Professor. The instructor then tells me to return to my seat. From now on, if I look elsewhere during his class, he won't say a word. If I find his lessons boring, I'm free to leave any time. He won't mind at all. In his view, these foundational lessons are simply beneath my level. The students buzz with commentary. This guy is something else. I can't believe Professor Carlos is treating him like that. What a show we got today. As I walk back, Leonhardt takes 2 steps forward, eyes fixed on me. His heart is pounding. A deep red rose blooms somewhere inside his chest. The proudest person in this entire academy, Leonhardt Apius, has just become a fan of Gray. A chill runs down my spine. Don't tell me this guy's going to start following me around. After class, I find a note from Professor Ariel. Come to my office after school today. A little unexpected. She didn't say a word to me beforehand. My first suspicion, Professor Carlos put her up to this, trying to get Ariel to back a transfer to the magic department. I arrive at Professor Ariel's office door before long. Hopefully my guess is wrong. I knock and find the door unlocked. After a moment with no response, I push it open and step inside. Forgive the intrusion. The next instant, a sword comes flying straight at me. The moment I register it, my hand moves on instinct, blade drawn in an instant. A flick of the arm sends the attacker's weapon spinning away. The whole motion is fluid and effortless. The girl looks genuinely surprised. She can't figure out how I reacted that fast. What she doesn't know is that I didn't consciously choose to do it. My body just moved on its own. But really, why am I being ambushed the moment I walk through the door? Then my eyes go wide. This girl, she looks familiar, like I've seen her somewhere before. She turns slowly to face me. Blue hair, golden eyes, a face I can't help but find striking. From across the room, Ariel laughs. Your reflexes are something else, I'll give you that. It seems my judgment was right. Bringing you into this academy was the correct call. 2 other instructors stand nearby, unconvinced. Bella, did you hold back just now? Your movements were flawless, but losing your sword that easily doesn't add up. Did your master tell you to go easy on him? At the name Bella, something tightens in my chest, so it really is her. Bella Albright. In my past life, she became a magic witch, and the one who taught me magic. Ariel has no patience for them. Are you too serious? If you can't even tell whether she held back, maybe you should consider resigning. The man laughs it off. Just a joke, Ariel. No need to take it so seriously. He hands over the gold coins with a grin. I watch them settle their bet right in front of me and slide my sword back into its sheath. How charming. You weren't betting on me, were you? I ask. Ariel doesn't deny it. We were. The bet was whether you could hold off Bella's surprise attack. Thanks to you, I made quite a profit. She flicks her thumb and sends a gold coin spinning through the air toward me. You're cut. My irritation evaporates the moment I catch it. This single coin is enough to cover a full year of living expenses. One of the instructors watches my hand and speaks up, just as Ariel described. From that brief exchange, it's clear he deliberately avoided using his dominant arm, almost as though he's protecting an arm that can't function properly. The second instructor nods. His right arm is injured, and severely at that. It's not a surface-level physical wound, it's something far deeper. No ordinary injury causes that. Something struck it, or it was pushed far past its limit. Leave it untreated and it could become a permanent condition. I'm stunned. One glance, and they've already mapped out everything accurately. This is why they teach at the World United Academy. They share a knowing laugh. If we couldn't see at least this much, we'd have no business calling ourselves professors here. Though it seems Professor Ariel noticed it even back during the entrance exam. Ariel cuts in, clearly done with them. Since you both understand the situation so well, do you mind leaving? He's my student. I'm not giving up on him. And you two are acting like you know more than you do. The man laughs again. We admit the kid has potential, at least for now. Take good care of him. But there's one thing he needs to hear. If that injury doesn't heal, it means he hasn't truly reached the standard required for admission. He'll struggle every step of the way here. Make sure he understands that. Their words hit home. I need to find a way to heal this arm, and soon. Once they're gone, the room is down to just the 3 of us. Ariel exhales. Annoying pair, finally. Now then, let's talk about magic, and about the girl beside you. Earlier today, Ariel heard what happened in Professor Carlos's class, that I produced a super compressed ether bullet. Professor Carlos came to her office in person to request the transfer. She turned him down. Ariel sets down her coffee slowly. Nothing escapes Ariel's sight. She can tell I'm meant for the sword, not magic. Then I notice her eyes and I go still. Her pupils have shifted, changed. You don't appear naturally gifted at compression magic, she says. There's no sign you've practiced it either. I take a guilty sip of tea. One look from those eyes and she already knows. Lying to this woman would be pointless. You're right, I admit. I never specifically trained in compression magic. Exactly what she expected. Nobody lies in front of those eyes. Still, she wants to know what method I used. She promises to keep it entirely to herself and offers compensation. And the reason she's so determined to understand it is the girl standing beside us. I want you to become her teacher, because this compression magic is tied to her fate. Don't tell me Professor Ariel called me here just because of Bella. Ariel confirms it. Bella may be a genius in magical theory, but when it comes to practical application, she's still far from the top. No matter what she tries, she simply cannot master the ether compression technique. And that's exactly why she can't produce super compressed ether. I had heard rumors about Bella Albright in my past life, so this was one of the reasons. According to what Professor Ariel heard from Professor Carlos, when I use super compressed ether, I look nothing like someone who is compressing ether at all. If there's a way to use super compressed ether without actually compressing it, then Bella won't have to be sent to Professor Bradley. I slowly set down my coffee, repeating the name under my breath. Professor Bradley. The next moment, I freeze. Are you talking about Professor Balian Bradley? Professor Ariel nods. I figured you'd know the name. The man is infamous. He has conducted countless experiments on human beings, killing many in the process. On top of that, he triggered a magical disaster that claimed the lives of tens of thousands. He is the worst magical criminal in history, and even now he has yet to be captured. If Bella cannot produce super compressed ether before the end of the year, she will be sent to him for surgery. A bad feeling sinks into my gut. Sending Bella there is no different from sending her her to her death. That place is filled with unspeakable experiments. Exactly. The surgery is framed as magical enhancement, but in reality, it is human experimentation. Bella's life is now in your hands. It hasn't been made public, but rumors say many young girls have died because of his experiments. Some are dead. Others are broken beyond repair. It is dangerous and horrifying. If Bella cannot produce super compressed ether, she has only two choices: expulsion or the experiments. Professor Ariel is seething. I would rather see you expelled than let that man lay a hand on you. I don't rush to answer. I think carefully. The magic I know is knowledge that doesn't exist yet in this era. Sharing it could change the course of history. Bella's hands begin to tremble. She desperately wants my help, but she doesn't say a word to pressure me. I see it clearly. Bella is one of the key fighters of the future. I cannot afford to let anything happen to her. The Liquidator is far too powerful. Having one more elite fighter on our side will make all the difference. I have felt that despair firsthand. I never want to feel it again. If the future can be changed under my guidance, the world's fighting force will be far stronger, strong enough that the Liquidator won't be able to wipe them out in a single blow. The thought makes me smile. If that's the case, why not try? Maybe I really can change Bella's fate. That future the world calls hell, changing it can only be a good thing. The next moment, I make up my mind. I set my coffee cup down on the table with a firm thud. I turn to Bella with a smile. Don't worry, I'll teach you how to use super compressed ether. With your talent, you'll pick it up fast. 3 hours later, at the arena, I bring out a blackboard and walk them through a wealth of foundational magical theory, all of it centered on super compressed ether. This is everything I know. As we agreed, don't tell anyone this came from me. Both Bella and Professor Ariel tell me not to worry. We signed a magic contract. Break it, and death follows. There is no other way out. I wave my hand and look at Bella. So after hearing all of this, do you have any thoughts? If you do, feel free to share them. Professor Ariel looks overwhelmed. She knows magic, but her true strength lies in swordsmanship. Just wrapping her head around organic drive had already left her stunned, and the magical knowledge I've revealed goes so far beyond that she can barely process it all. Bella slowly steps forward. The magic you've described is complex, but the logic is crystal clear. If I had to put it into words, it feels like listening to a magic lecture from 100 years in the future. She looks up at me with the most earnest expression. Just hearing your explanation alone could push magic forward by 100 years. You truly are a magic genius. I feel a little embarrassed. It really is knowledge from the future, 10 years from now, taught to me by Bella herself. But so much changes in those 10 years. Magic advances at an incredible pace. It really does feel like 100 years of progress. Professor Ariel couldn't follow much of my explanation. She turns to Bella. There's a lot I can't verify myself. Tell me, is what he said true? Bella nods. This theory is very likely correct. It doesn't contradict any current magical theory, and the fastest way to verify it is to test it right here. That's why we came to the arena today. If everything Gray said is true, then the spell Bella is holding should work. If the magic Bella casts based on that spell can prove the theory, what follows will be beyond imagination. The next moment, Bella begins to cast. This will be the first time she unleashes her magic at full power. I'm stunned. This is Bella's full power? If I remember correctly, her full-powered strike in the future could level an entire city. I can only wonder what her magic looks like 10 years before that. The next moment, an enormous magic formation appears before us. At her current level, Bella seems unable to control the sheer output of her power. I have a bad feeling about this, but Bella doesn't seem to care. She only wants to try the new magic. The incantation keeps flowing from her lips. The next second, a brilliant golden light engulfs my entire body. Then that golden radiance explodes skyward. I stand there completely dumbstruck. Bella, 10 years before her prime, already has this kind of power. No wonder she becomes one of the core fighters. That overwhelming force is genuinely terrifying. If she hadn't gained control of the magic in time, I would be dead. A burst of flame had come flying straight at my face, but just before it hit, it veered away on its own. Bella had redirected it. Bella is overjoyed. She succeeded on the very first try, and even managed to control it. Under Bella's control, the flame slowly takes shape, a dragon made of fire. I silently marvel. Bella truly is a genius. Magic this complex, and she grasped it instantly, then pulled it off on the spot. With her at my side, I'm confident. One day she can nurture a whole generation of magical talents to stand with us against the Liquidator. The fire magic surges in hard and fades just as quickly. Bella's ether is spent. Exhausted, Bella collapses to the ground. The classic sign of magical overexertion. I rush over anxiously to check on her. Bella is one of the future's greatest hopes. Nothing can happen to her. Ariel calls out from behind me. Relax, she just fell asleep. Don't get any strange ideas. I can't help but laugh despite myself. I don't bother arguing back. As long as Bella is fine, that's all that matters. Bella glances up at the flames still burning in the sky. Even so, she finds it hard to believe. She constructed magic of that scale in such a short time. It's breathtaking. Half-conscious, Bella murmurs. It's not me that's amazing. It's the theory. I could create super compressed ether so easily because of what Gray taught me. Little does she know that very theory was created by her own hands. I simply told her about it ahead of time. Professor Ariel chuckles. Now that she can produce super compressed ether, she no longer needs the surgery. I'll personally notify Bradley and have it canceled. I'm relieved we've avoided that dangerous surgery. But what moves me most is that Bella never lost control of her magic. That alone says everything about just how terrifying her talent is. I turn to Ariel curious. Did you say her control of magic? Yes, control. Bradley's surgery can boost magical output, but the cost is control. The exact mechanism is classified, but it seems to work by forcibly breaking through the body's natural limiters. I stroke my chin as it all clicks into place. So that's it. In the previous timeline, the reason that Witch couldn't control her immense power, it was this surgery. I'm sure of it. Professor Ariel laughs. Thanks to you, Bella can now produce super super compressed ether. That means the terms of our contract have been fulfilled. Professor Ariel raises her hand. Now it's my turn to honor my side of the deal. First, your arm. I'm going to cast a spell on you, she says. Nerve restoration magic. It can repair your arm. The next moment, blue magical energy blooms in her palm. I can't help but stare. She presses that energy against the back of my hand and begins healing my injured right arm. A wave of powerful healing energy wraps around my entire arm. It feels cool and gentle, like a soothing current flowing through me. The healing magic works quickly. Professor Ariel looks up. How does it feel? I roll my wrist. It really does feel much better than before. What shocks me even more, my wrist moves as freely as it once did. I'm overwhelmed with gratitude. Thank you, Professor. Does this mean I'm fully qualified to stay in the academy now? But I'm also curious, if standard magical healing potions couldn't fix this, how did Ariel do it so easily? Professor Ariel laughs. Don't even compare my nerve restoration magic to some ordinary healing potion. Professor Ariel still looks a little concerned. Can your arm really move like it used to? Why don't you test it with your sword? I step aside and slowly draw my sword. I'll take her advice and put my arm to the test. I swing it lightly. Something feels off. I study my wrist carefully, then try again. Swoosh, swoosh. I throw out dozens of swings, each one measured against the speed I once had. But the result still falls short. Cold sweat breaks out across my face. I lower my sword and look at Ariel. My arm, it's still not as fluid as it used to be. Professor Ariel sighs, pressing a hand to her forehead. Just as I suspected, I repaired your nerves, but my magic cannot heal a soul wound. I frown. Soul wound? Is the soul actually a real physical thing? Ariel nods. You heard correctly, the soul is real. Current magical theory hasn't confirmed it yet, but I believe it exists without a doubt, because Ariel possesses an ability that is nothing short of extraordinary. Her eyes can see souls. It is a secret she has never told anyone. And through those eyes, she can see my soul is slowly healing on its own. It will mend naturally. As long as I don't push my swordsmanship past its limits, my arm will return to full flexibility. I don't quite follow. Does that mean I can't train with my sword for a while? Ariel shakes her head. Not at all. Train at your normal level and you'll be perfectly fine. Deep down, Ariel has been holding on to a question. She wants to ask, what kind of swordsmanship could possibly leave this kind of wound on a soul? I don't answer. She reads the room and shifts the subject. As it happens, there's already a precedent for sword arts driven by the soul. Ariel's expression turns serious. That person is Amy White. You know her, don't you? The Amy White who, up until her death in the future, never once suffered a defeat. Ariel asks if I already knew her. My heart skips a beat. I do know her. But why is Ariel bringing up the Sword Saint's name here? At this point in time, we shouldn't even know each other. The reason Ariel is so certain is simple. The way I swing my sword is a dead ringer for Amy's style. It's too similar to be a coincidence. But on closer thought, there are subtle differences. Whoever taught me seems to be a cut above even Amy. Ariel looks genuinely puzzled. In a few more years, Amy will reach the same level as your master. Ariel's sharpness leaves me a little unsettled. She figured even that out. No matter how sharp she is, she could never guess that the one who taught me is Amy herself, 10 years in the future. All I can tell her is that I trained at a dojo back in my hometown. But can sword arts really damage the soul? Ariel shakes her head. Absolutely not. Ordinary sword arts cannot cause soul damage. For starters, ordinary sword arts couldn't defeat a target in a single strike, let alone cut down every ghost and tree in the surrounding area along with it. That is a reference to the moment I cut down the ogre general. She already knew. Ariel smiles. Of course I did, which is why that bet was never really a gamble. Ariel had seen the remains left at the scene. The sight was staggering. Even the most advanced cleaving magic could not have produced that result. So she suspected that I carry a mysterious power within me, and that I used it. Her guess is dead on. I ask if Professor Ariel can see it with her eyes. Ariel's pupils shift. I can see it. Power is seeping out from behind a door bound in chains. I'm completely shaken. Something is very wrong here. There is something far deeper to Ariel than I realized, because Ariel actually saw the door inside me. There is no way she arrived at that through guesswork. She knows something. Ariel raises one finger. That said, I have seen a power similar to yours before. I don't think they are the same thing, but there is a resemblance. I ask immediately. What power? Is there someone else out there with something like mine? Ariel's answer is firm. Yes, though I'm not sure they are human. They are called the Liquidator. I completely lose my composure. What does Ariel know? Why is the Liquidator being mentioned in this era? Ariel doesn't miss my reaction. You've heard of them, haven't you? Apparently just as you have. Honestly, I didn't expect them to be so well known. Then again, given that you know magic theory that far ahead of its time, I suppose it isn't that surprising. I feel a little awkward. That knowledge really is just from the future. None of it has been developed yet in this era. Ariel looks at me with curiosity. How much do you know about the Liquidator? Tell me everything. I hesitate, unsure how much to share. Even if I told her the truth, she wouldn't believe it. All I know is that the Liquidator is an extreme threat to humanity, and immensely powerful. We have to stop it before it appears, and if that's not possible, we destroy it, whatever the cost. Ariel considers this for a moment, then nods. That's a strong stance, but I agree. It's extremely dangerous. Even so, Bellion Bradley appears to be pressing ahead with his experiments regardless. That stops me cold. What does that madman have to do with any of this? Ariel gives a cold smile. Everything. The connection is significant. According to what Ariel knows, the Liquidator is the very entity Bradley is trying to summon. I go completely still. The Liquidator was created by humans? Then why did I never hear about this in the future? But thinking back, in the previous timeline, the Academy acted as though they already knew the Liquidator was coming. A possibility surfaces in my mind. one that sends a chill straight through me. Could it be that the Academy was involved in summoning the Liquidator from the very beginning? If my suspicion is right, then the Academy is where it all began. Without thinking, I blurted out, "Ariel, we have to stop this experiment." Ariel shares the same feeling, but unfortunately, the professor running the experiment is her equal in rank. She has no authority to shut it down. She had already pushed the higher-ups to cancel it. They refuse to listen. I want to know who these higher-ups are. Ariel can't tell me. I don't have the clearance. Without an order from above, no one can force the experiment to stop. I let out a long internal sigh. Not even a name. The Academy's leadership runs far deeper and more tangled than I imagined. Then it hits me. If we can prove that Madman is a criminal, wouldn't that solve everything? In the previous timeline, Balian's illegal experiments cost tens of thousands of lives, and I know exactly where he carried them out. I turn to Ariel with a proposal. I know where he runs his illegal experiments. If we catch him in the act, we might be able to put an end to all of this. But Ariel shuts it down again. That won't work. Entering an Academy professor's research facility without authorization is itself a serious crime. Without solid evidence, the only ones getting locked up will be us. Unless you already have proof of his crimes? Her words silence me. I have no concrete evidence. And without it, this matter can go no further. The topic drops there. Ariel moves on to the subject of my power. Don't you want to learn how to control it? Those words hit me hard. Can Ariel actually help me control my own power? She shakes her head. I can't teach you that. But there is a professor at this academy who specializes in dealing with unknown forces. His name is Heathcote. My heart jolts. Heathcote, the very man who personally trained the Sword Saint. Ariel clearly expected my reaction. I'll arrange for you to begin private training with him tomorrow. I want to shout. This is incredible. Controlling his power is exactly why I came to this academy. And now, a path forward has appeared far sooner than I expected. The next day, I begin special training under a true master. The one standing before me is Heathcote himself, conducting a private session. But to my surprise, the training is just running. I have no idea what he's trying to teach me. But whatever he says, I'll follow without question. Then he suddenly turns his head. Your mind is wandering. I can feel your focus slipping. If you have time to think, you have time to run faster. Listen carefully. The power of the soul only awakens when every last drop of physical strength is gone. As long as you have even a shred of energy left, we do not touch that sword. Understood? I more or less understand. And even if I didn't, I'd follow his instructions anyway. He is one of the greatest in the world. And so begins one brutal week of training under his watch. After the training ends, I visit Ariel. She asks how things went with Heathcote. Honestly, not much to report. It was mostly running every day, though my body does feel stronger. We only touch sword work right at the end. Ariel laughs. Sounds exactly like that old man. A moment later, someone walks in and interrupts us. They hand Ariel a letter. I'm not sure if I'm imagining, but Ariel's hands are trembling as she reads. Then her expression twists into pure fury. I step forward quickly. What's wrong? What happened? When I see what's written in the letter, my face mirrors hers exactly. The letter states that although Bella produced super compressed ether, upon inspection it does not qualify as true compression. Signed by Bali and Bradley. I'm furious. I can't hold back. This man is out of his mind. Ariel tells me to calm down. It's clear Bradley has made up his mind. He wants Bella on that table, even though she no longer needs it. Then let Bella simply refuse. There's a contract. Refusal isn't an option. Unless Bradley himself voids it, Bella's only choices are to withdraw from the academy or go through with the surgery. The news runs cold through me. If Bella goes through with that surgery, she's finished. The next moment, Ariel slams her hand on the table. Gray, I need your help. She wants to know from me where Bradley's lab is. If Ariel exposes his crimes, the contract will be automatically voided. A small smile crosses my face. Didn't you tell me earlier that going in without evidence is too dangerous? What changed? Ariel made this decision because she believes me. If we find that place, the evidence will be there. Perhaps Ariel has believed me from the very start. Her eyes had already told her the truth. She can say with certainty that everything I've ever said has been the truth. It just took her this long to admit it. You should have done that from the start. Trust me a little more from now on. I don't lie. Ariel nods. Then guide me, now. Let us stand together and expose everything that man has done. His laboratory is in the mountains near the village of Toruel. Ariel knows the mountain. I never would have thought he'd be hiding in a place like that. I know he's running illegal experiments inside a licensed facility. Ariel agrees. It really is the perfect cover for a lab. On top of that, no professor at the academy interferes with another's lab. As long as we get the evidence, we can't be charged with trespassing. Just then, Bella pushes open the door and walks in. She looks deeply troubled. Professor Gray, I received this letter today. Ariel steps forward and plucks the letter from her fingers. Don't worry about this. Gray and I will take care of it. Bella seems to sense what Ariel has in mind. Professor, you're going to confront them for my sake? Alone? Ariel pauses mid-step. The corner of her mouth lifts slightly. She turns to Bella. One is enough. Bella is worried. She turns to look at me. Wait, I say, I'm going with you. Bella says the same. This is her life on the line. She has to go. Professor Ariel looks pained. The enemy you'd be facing is a madman who has carried out dangerous human experiments time and time again. If he gets his hands on either of you, no one can predict what he'll do. I can't let you walk into that. I disagree. You going alone is far more dangerous. If I use the same power I used against the ogre general, I can be a real asset to you. And if you disappear, I'll be expelled as an eye of God in Roli. So I have every reason to be there. At least let us have a say in our own fate. We won't slow you down. We'll only make you stronger. Ariel looks at the two of us and falls silent. Then she lets out a heavy sigh. It sounds like even if I said no, you'd follow me anyway. Fine, I'll allow it. But there is one condition. No matter what happens, your own safety comes first. We both answer at the same time. Understood. We already knew that. And so we head for the mountain. I lead them to a building tucked into the hillside. Bella stares at it. He really conducts illegal experiments in there? Don't doubt it, Ariel says. We're going in to find the evidence. I'm certain, I add. He's here. Both of them meet my eyes with sharp, focused gazes. If you say so, we believe you. Ariel has one piece of good news. Bellion should be at a Magic Association meeting right now, so he's not here. But the entrance may be trapped. We'll breach through the side door. Now it's Ariel's time to shine. The moment we're inside, find the evidence immediately. Bella speaks up one more time. Professor, are you really sure you want to do all of this for me? Am I worth it? I cut in before Ariel can answer. You said that wrong. Stopping his experiments is for the sake of this world, not just for you. Understand? A moment later, at Ariel's signal, we all charge in. My speed outpaces them both. I take the lead. At the same time, fire magic gathers in Ariel's hand. With one sweeping motion, a barrage of flames obliterates the door. Ariel's magic is terrifyingly powerful. One casual blast, and it causes this much destruction. I'm a little taken aback. Weren't we supposed to be sneaking in? Why are you making such a scene? After blasting a hole through the side wall, we prepare to step inside. But the moment I see what's inside, I stop cold. As we step into the laboratory, bodies everywhere. Every one of them Bradley's test subjects. Ariel had planned to search carefully for evidence. One look around, and there is evidence in every direction. Then we notice something further ahead. Not far from us stands something resembling a ritual altar. Bella looks shaken. What do we do now? Stick to the plan and take the evidence, or look for survivors? I turn to her. We can't stay long. If we linger, Balian might come back. The words have barely left my mouth when I hear an unfamiliar voice. A figure slowly approaches from behind. Were you calling my name? Ariel looks at the figure and says evenly, how did your meeting go, Balian? The one walking toward us is none other than the infamous experimenter himself, Professor Balian Bradley. I shift into a fighting stance immediately. I never imagined Bradley would actually be here. Bradley speaks slowly. I sent a body double to the meeting in my place. I have important experiments here. I couldn't possibly leave. Ariel's eyes narrow. And what exactly is this important experiment? Apparently Bradley had just acquired a fresh batch of test subjects. He wanted to run the experiments while they were still fresh. But the plan has changed. Your intrusion requires a small adjustment. Even Ariel looks rattled. The killing intent radiating from him is overwhelming. We have seen what we were never meant to see. Naturally, he intends to silence us. Bradley's eyes lock onto us. He doesn't know how we found this place, but he is certain of one thing. We didn't tell anyone we were coming. If all three of us disappear, no one will ever point a finger at him. Bella looks like she's on the verge of freezing up entirely. Ariel's voice is ice cold. Don't tell me you're planning to use us as your guinea pigs. Bradley merely chuckles. No need to be dramatic. Your sacrifice will push the boundaries of magic itself. Since I can't let you leave alive, I'll make sure every part of you is put to maximum use. The next second, a massive fireball launches straight at Bradley's face. The sudden attack catches him slightly off guard. Boom! The fireball detonates with a thunderous roar. Ariel glances at Bella. She hadn't expected the girl to strike without hesitation. Bella's expression is stone cold. She burns with hatred for Bradley. She shows no mercy. But what none of us expected, Bella's attack left not a single scratch on him. Bradley smiles as if this is all a game. The eye of God, Ariel, still sharp as ever, and a special admissions student with talent this remarkable. Quite the surprise. I'll have to be more careful. After all, besides Bella, there's another Eye of God candidate standing right in front of me. I'm not impressed by your little tricks. A student daring to attack her own teacher. Truly unforgivable insolence. Bella scoffs. I'd rather be the one doing the killing. Too bad I missed my chance to finish you off. Ariel orders us to fall back. She can feel the situation spiraling out of control, but we have the evidence we need, and the Academy will handle the rest. We want to leave. Balian, however, has other plans. In an instant, he launches a dark magic attack straight at Bella. At the last possible second, Ariel throws up her golden barrier. She tells Bella to run. She'll deal with this herself, but Balian cuts her off. Save it. This is one of my finest creations, Gluttony's Blaze. This spell devours defensive magic and converts it directly into its own power. The two forces grind against each other. Ariel's barrier is already starting to crack. In theory, this spell is unstoppable. Its only drawback is that casting it consumes 1 unit of rare material. Moments later, Ariel's golden barrier is on the verge of being swallowed whole. Then, her eyes ignite with a burst of blue light. Behind the golden magic formation, a second one appears, blue this time, another layer of defense. But Gluttony's Blaze doesn't flinch. It crashes straight into the new barrier without hesitation. Cracks spread across Ariel's barrier once again. She quickly orders Bella to hand over the spell memory pouch. Ariel has already recorded everything that happened here. Once Heathcote sees it, he'll know exactly what to do. But Bella doesn't move. Instead, she slams her staff into the ground. A new defensive magic formation radiates outward from her. Circular this time. Ariel is beside herself. What are you doing? I told you to run. There's no way Bella would leave Ariel here alone. She saw the barrier breaking. She's here to reinforce it. Ariel is at a loss for words. We agreed. If anything went wrong, you put your life first. Balian's magic isn't normal. No defensive formation can stop it. I'll buy you time. Now go. But the moment those words leave her mouth, her barrier shatters. Ariel is horrified. 2 minutes. That's all it took. This magic is seriously wrong. Bella, on the other hand, looks completely calm. It's fine. The professor's barrier is down, but that doesn't matter. Gluttony's Blaze surges forward and slams into Bella's formation. To Bella, this spell isn't overwhelmingly powerful. It just requires a slightly different approach to counter. Balian is stunned. Impossible. The counter theory for Gluttony's Blaze is known only to us. How do you know it? Bella chuckles. Someone recently taught me a new theory. With it, any spell looks simple to me. Balian's mouth twitches. You're telling me you broke my dark magic with just some new theory? He refuses to believe it. Tell me who this traitor is. Give me a name and I'll make your death quick. Bella chuckles again. You want to know who taught me? That's a secret. I'm not telling you anything. Surprisingly, there's something almost endearing about this side of Bella. But the next moment, moment, my expression hardens. I warn Bella to stay sharp. Something about this attack feels off. Balian reaches into his robe and pulls out a red stone. Then he crushes it in his bare hand. If you're also eager to die, then burn. All three of you, I'll watch you turn to ash. A dozen skeletons explode out from the shattered stone. They twist and coil together like a knotted rope. Then they merge into a massive, horrifying maw, and it lunges straight at us. I tell Bella to be careful. She says she can hold on. But underneath that composure, Bella is starting to panic. Her magic is running out. Balian saw it coming. With your reserves, you've got 1 minute, maybe. Bella is desperate now. Professor, attack him. I'll hold the defense. At those words, blue light blazes in Ariel's eyes. Her eye of God scans for a weakness in Balian's magic. Find it, and she can project her power through the barrier. She raises her hand slowly. A thin thread of electricity slips past the barrier. The moment she finds it, she holds nothing back. Lightning erupts across her entire body. With a fierce cry, every arc of lightning she has launches at Gluttony's blaze. The lightning is blindingly fast and hits with devastating force. But she hasn't cracked the counter. The moment her lightning touches the dark magic, it starts getting devoured. Every last bolt is consumed, leaving nothing behind. Balian lets out a cold snort. Counter me? Don't make me laugh. You can't even touch me. Ariel's expression darkens. She didn't expect the absorption power of this spell to be this overwhelming. If I remember correctly, Ariel's offensive magic is the weakest among the faculty. And with Gluttony's blaze feeding on flames, Balian is literally growing stronger by absorbing her attacks. At that moment, Bella finally hits her limit. My magic is almost gone. What do we do? Look closely and you can see it. Her hands, her whole body trembling. Just staying on her feet is costing her everything. Ariel is out of options too. This is exactly why I told you to leave earlier. You didn't listen. You both underestimated him. Everyone is in danger. That's when I step forward. I chuckle. Leave this to me. You two take a breather. Time for the backup to step in. Ariel and Bella stare at me in disbelief. We couldn't stop him. You think you can? Bella wants to know what I'm planning. Your sword can't even reach him from here. Don't worry about that, I say. Just watch me work. Something flickers in Ariel's eyes. She's already figured it out. Are you sure about this? Using that power again could kill you, and even if you survive, your arm may never fully heal. I let a small smile cross my face. Better one of us dies than all three of us. On Balian's side, Gluttony's blaze blocks his view of what's happening inside, but he can see a red glow slowly expanding within. Then he sees a young man swinging a sword through the air. The angle is strange though, upside down. The reason it looks upside down is simple. Balian's head has already been cut off. A single strike. That's all it takes. The power behind that swing was something Balian could never have blocked. My expression is dead serious. Someone like you should have died a long time ago. What stands before us now is a headless body. Bella can't believe what she just witnessed. That single strike has shattered everything she thought she knew. With a heavy thud, Balian and his head hit the floor at the same time. Even Ariel stands there wide-eyed. She had reviewed the scene from the ogre general battle, but seeing it with her own eyes is something else entirely. If anyone were told about this, they'd never believe it. Then Bella notices chunks of stone raining down from above. The entire ceiling begins to collapse. That strike, its shockwave reached all the way up there. Then, amid the falling debris, a light and steady pair of footsteps moves forward. With every step, ripples spread across the floor. Countless pink beams of magic rise from the ground and freeze every falling stone in place. Ariel is still processing what just happened. Compared to what Gray just did, Balian's magic was nothing. She glances over at me. How's your body holding up? That strike was absolutely devastating. With a clatter, the sword slips from my hand and hits the floor. I'm not sure what's happening. My dominant hand is throbbing with pain and there's a creeping numbness spreading through it. I pick the sword back up. Don't worry too much, I can still move. Ariel lets out a quiet laugh. That's quite an improvement from before. Your training is paying off. I have to agree with her. Back in the village, using this power knocked me out for days. My arm couldn't move at all when I woke up. Now it just hurts. That's progress. That 1 week training under the Sword Saint was worth every second. What I don't realize is that Ariel's gaze has quietly shifted to my right hand. She just used her eye of God to examine my right arm. The internal damage, it's there again. She walks toward me and says softly, "We're alive because of you. I'm sorry I let you use that power again." I tell her not to worry about it. I was the one who insisted on stopping Balian. Still, Ariel insists on saying thank you. But what she says next catches me off guard. She tells me not to use that power again, not for a long time. Her voice takes on an almost pleading tone. "Please trust what my eye of God is telling me. If you push it further, the damage will become permanent." I go still for a moment. Then I give a slow nod. I understand. Just then, Bella speaks up from behind me. She wants to know, was that magic just now? Because she didn't detect a single ether fluctuation. Honestly, calling that magic doesn't even feel right. So what exactly are you using? Ariel cuts her off before I can answer. "I'm sorry, but I need you to let this go. And don't mention anything you saw here to anyone." Bella's curiosity gets the better of her, and she keeps pressing for answers. Ariel sighs. Magic begins gathering in her hand. She looks Bella dead in the eyes. "If you can't agree to that, I'll have to erase your memory. I'll give you a choice, memory erasure, or a magic contract." Bella nearly jumps out of her skin. There's no way she's letting anyone touch her memories. She chooses the magic contract. Ariel conjures a magic contract and lets it hover in front of Bella. Bella signs it without hesitation. The matter is closed. She won't ask again. Ariel asks what we should do next. I tell her that as worried as I am about the experiments, our first priority right now is helping these people. They look nearly lifeless, but they're not dead. They've been put under a magical trance. Ariel snaps her fingers. They're not in immediate danger, but to be safe, we should bring them to the Academy's medical ward. A sphere of golden light materializes before us. It expands outward, wrapping around every test subject in the room. At the very least, this will keep them shielded from any further harm. With the test subject secured, Ariel suggests we go deeper. As she surveys the room again, even she finds it hard to process. Everywhere we look, illegal experiments. Almost all of them involve human sacrifice, either to produce magical catalysts or to artificially enhance human magic ability. Every single one is more brutal than the last. Ariel finds no experiments directly tied to the Liquidators. Could that part be happening somewhere else? I find it strange too. In my past life, this place was connected to an event that killed tens of thousands of people. How could simply producing a magical catalyst lead to a disaster on that scale? Then it hits me. My eyes go wide. In my past life, the thing that killed all those people, it was a miasma that surged up from beneath the ground. That realization makes me call out to Ariel and Bella immediately. Bella looks at me puzzled. Did you figure something out? You look worried. Of course I'm worried. I think there might be something beneath us. And if it's connected to the Liquidators, I don't even want to think about it. I share my suspicion with Ariel that there might be a hidden passage underground. Ariel looks skeptical. Underground? Who runs experiments down there? Her eye of God sweeps across every crack and seam in the floor, but she finds nothing. No hidden passage. Which would mean my guess is wrong. Just as she's about to tell me what she found, she freezes. She tells us not to move, then quickly walks ahead on her own. She crouches down and examines the floor closely. Her eye of God activates again. It's faint, but I can feel traces of short-range teleportation magic. This might be a space that can only be accessed by teleporting in. Based on the residue, the teleportation distance is roughly 300 meters. Something is down there. I ask if she can get us 300 meters down. She says she can. She has her own short-range teleportation portal. She snaps her fingers. Let's see what's down there. A magic formation appears before us. If there's nothing there, the portal should open into solid earth. The door within Ariel's formation slowly opens, and what we see on the other side stops all three of us cold. Stretching before us is a space filled with structures, small buildings of varying sizes. Ariel is stunned. Nobody, not even she, could have expected a space this vast to exist beneath this building. At the same time, Bella senses something wrong. Enormous amounts of ether energy are pouring in from every direction, and the strongest source is coming from the very center. She points to the structure at the heart of it all, surrounded by several towering pillars. Ariel is shaken. It's not just ether. There's something else, a different kind of power, and it's stronger than anything I've ever encountered. When I hear that, I think I already know what it is. Could this different power be? Ariel cuts me off. You're right. The power inside that structure, it belongs to the Liquidators. We step inside. There's a door ahead. All three of us suspect the same thing. The source of that power is behind this door. Ariel carefully examines the surrounding area. The power is undeniable, but there's no sign of an actual Liquidator. She tries the door. It opens without incident. She can tell the door itself holds no power. It's purely ceremonial, placed here as a symbol, nothing more. So the source of that power isn't the door, it's somewhere else in this room. Ariel's gaze lands on a purple container nearby. She suspects all the power is concentrated within this magical device. And then she does something that catches us completely off guard. I freeze. Are you out of your mind? Are you trying to summon a Liquidator? Bella agrees. This is far too dangerous. We have to stop her. Ariel is completely unfazed. Neither of you move. My prediction tells me this device cannot actually summon a Liquidator. Trust me. A sharp tearing sound. The door begins to split. The crack widens, and beyond it is pure darkness. Bella and I are frozen. The space is tearing apart. What did you do? Under Ariel's intervention, a thin stream of energy is being drawn out from within. I stare at that dark energy without blinking. No mistake. That is the power of the Liquidators. Ariel had already worked out what this device actually does, and summoning a Liquidator isn't it. All it does is tear a tiny rift toward wherever the Liquidators exist, and channel the energy that leaks through. At the center of the room, dark energy rises and drifts through the air. The core used to crystallize that energy was almost certainly human life. By the looks of it, around 10 souls were consumed, but the shaping process may have cost far more. All of this is what Ariel sees through her eye of God. Her guess, most of the people we found upstairs were taken as raw material for this. Bella is baffled. Why go through all this just to collect that power? What are they planning to do with it? Ariel tells Bella to think back to the battle. That black flame Balian used. Didn't it seem unusual? That flame came from the red crystal. And that crystal is essentially what these devices produce when they're finished. But the catalyst doesn't have to become fire. If they mass produce these things, who knows what they could be used for? As she speaks, the crack in the door slowly begins to close. After hearing all this, I'm starting to think Balian may never have intended to summon a Liquidator in the first place. Whether he tried and failed or simply didn't want to, I can't say. From the looks of it, the spatial access magical device has been pushed to its limit. These devices may have already given everything they have. Bella looks around at the devices. Her eyes light up. These are priceless. I've never seen spatial distortion magic this precise or this powerful. Ariel already suspected as much. As you said, building even one of these would cost a nation's entire budget, but having 8 of them, only one organization comes to mind. Bella guesses the Discal Empire. She's wrong. They may be the largest nation in the world, but they don't have the magical research capacity to build even one of these. Then who in the world has the resources to pull this off? Ariel's answer is this. There must be an organization whose magical research capabilities surpass even the Empire. I speak up slowly. You're talking about the World Unite Academy, aren't you? I can't think of anyone else. When I say that, something tightens in Bella's chest. No way. It can't be the World United Academy. Ariel confirms it. Gray is right. No other research institution could support this scale and this budget. It's becoming impossible to deny. The World United Academy is tangled up in the Liquidator situation. It finally sinks in for Bella. Wait, you're saying the Academy is behind all of this? But the World United Academy is supposed to protect the world. Ariel sighs. You're too naive. I don't understand why you're still refusing to see it. But no other organization could do this. Do you understand now? But I see it differently. This doesn't mean the entire Academy is our enemy. Most of them are still on our side. At least in the world before before my rebirth, the Academy's strongest fighters were those on the front lines. They didn't hide behind others. They stood at the forefront of the fight against the Liquidators. They even surpassed the Liquidator squad. They protected civilians until the very end. Having witnessed that future, I refuse to believe the Academy is humanity's enemy. Ariel nods. As you said, most people in the Academy are likely acting in humanity's interest. They would never sanction experiments that waste lives. But the Academy has countless researchers, each with their own beliefs. Their views aren't unified, and neither are their methods. And then there are facilities, like this one. Almost no one truly knows the full picture. Whoever is behind Balian has significant support. There's no way he could have arranged all of this on his own authority. Bella frowns. So even now, we can't fully trust the Academy? That puts us in a really difficult position. A distant look enters Ariel's eyes. She has watched this Academy from the inside for decades. One thing she is certain of: this is not an organization you can trust blindly. Most of them genuinely believe they're working for humanity's benefit. Even the architect of this plan has probably convinced themselves of the same thing. But the truth stays buried in the dark, beyond reach. I ask Ariel to search the area, see if there's anything that could lead us to whoever is pulling the strings. Unfortunately, there are no communication devices anywhere in this facility, not even a trace of the Maker's magical residue on the devices. Covered up this thoroughly, finding any lead is going to be nearly impossible. And there's one more thing. But before Ariel can finish, a massive explosion erupts behind Bella. I'm caught off guard. What was that? But the explosions aren't targeting us. They're destroying the facility itself. Ariel pieces it together instantly. They installed evidence destruction devices. They didn't detonate immediately because they wanted to lure any intruders in first, then trigger the devices and wipe out everyone along with the evidence. Bella watches Ariel deduce like a detective, then snaps. Now is not the time for analysis. We need to leave. Now, Ariel chuckles. So impatient. These are just magical explosives. She slams her paw onto the floor. A World United Academy professor is not going to be stopped by something like this. As she speaks, a golden light blazes across the ground. If I let this kill me, I don't deserve to call myself your teacher. The golden light wraps around all three of us. It grows brighter and brighter. With a sharp whoosh, all three of us vanish from the spot, and the 8 magical devices vanish with us. 3 seconds later, on the lawn outside the building, Ariel has teleported us, along with the survivors from upstairs, onto the open ground outside. I glance at the survivors. They made it out safely, same as us, though they've clearly been through a lot. Bella lets out a long, shaky breath. She really thought that was it for her. I have to agree, that was too close. Ariel chuckles. You'll get used to it. There were more people than I expected, so the teleportation formation slowed down a bit, but it was worth it. We have all 8 magical devices. Once we present these to the Academy, they can't ignore us anymore. In no time, we are back inside the Academy. The man seated across from us speaks. The survivors you brought back are currently receiving treatment in the Academy's medical ward. This is Odumu Alexander, principal of the World United Academy. Thanks to all of you, Balian's illegal experiments have been stopped. He picks up a report on the magical engine sitting on his desk. Each one of these is worth more than an entire nation's budget. Ariel voices her concern. There are 8 devices in total. There's no way Balian assembled this kind of firepower alone. How did he get his hands on these? Is someone backing him? Alexander slowly sets down the report. These are stolen goods. The transport was ambushed. All 78 members of the convoy were killed. All 3 of us are stunned. We had no idea this was connected to a robbery. Ariel's expression hardens. You're talking about the incident 15 years ago. Alexander nods. That's right. These engines were among the cargo that was seized, and the ones responsible for it were the bloodthirsty. I'm sure you've heard the name. I've heard it. The largest criminal organization in the world, a parasite on humanity. No matter how many times they're crushed, they always come back. Something in Bella's silence makes me look over. The usually gentle Bella is wearing an expression I've never seen before. Pure rage. They're the ones who killed my parents. Alexander looks pained. That's exactly what makes them so dangerous. They've been dismantled hundreds of times and they always resurface. Nobody knows where they hide. Nobody knows who leads them. Over 70% of all crime-related deaths are attributed to them. I wouldn't even be surprised if some of their people have already infiltrated this academy. The trouble is, we have no way to identify them. And even if we did, the academy wouldn't act. I have to ask, what do you mean? If there are criminals in the academy, why wouldn't you root them out? Ariel takes over. This is how the academy operates. Anyone with talent is given the chance to grow stronger, regardless of bloodline, race, or background. That's the academy's philosophy. Even if you're a criminal, it doesn't matter. Bella finds it absurd. If there are criminals here, they should be dealt with. That's obvious. Alexander agrees with her. Unfortunately, those at the top don't see it that way. Bella is puzzled. But aren't you the principal? Doesn't that make you part of the top? Alexander laughs awkwardly. I'm just a subordinate. Calling me part of the top would be a joke. I'm the face of this institution in name, but the authority I actually hold is laughable. Do you want to know who truly controls everything? Bella and I nod at the same time. We need to know who's really behind all of this. But Alexander isn't going to tell us. Not yet. Keep growing stronger. The more power you have, the more you'll be allowed to know. When you have enough strength, you'll be able to reach the heart of this academy, and the truth you're looking for will finally come to light. He can't name names, but he offers a hint. There is a senior student here whose influence shapes the direction of this entire academy. Even that policy of accepting criminals, that was his decision. I finally understand. So if we become stronger than him, we can change the academy itself? Alexander doesn't elaborate. More or less, in this academy, strength is everything. Bella and I clench our fists at the same time. This is our conviction. We will grow stronger. Alexander watches us in silence. For him, this is still a mystery yet to be solved. There is no way Ariel would have been involved in opposing Balian in the conventional sense, which means one of them must be the one pulling the strings. And yet Ariel's eye of God remains as sharp as ever. Even Alexander can't help but feel anticipation stirring. He finds himself eager to see what kind of force Ariel is building. After leaving Alexander's office, I walk alone down the corridor. I glance down at the black mark on my hand. In this academy, strength rules everything. Whether we want to bring down the liquidators or expose whoever is working in the shadows, we need to focus on one thing first, getting stronger. Then a presence interrupts my thoughts. I look up just in time to see a kick flying straight at my face. With a heavy thud, I block the strike, but the force sends me skidding backward. The power behind that kick is immense. Even with a successful block, I can't stop myself from being pushed back. Whoever this is hits hard. But more than anything, I want to know why. If he doesn't have a good reason for this, I'm going to take it as a challenge. And if that's what this is, he won't like how I respond. But then he speaks up, saying I have no right to stand in this hallway. His reasoning is pathetically weak. Eye of God special admission students like you have absolutely no place here. I slowly draw my sword. Another person who hates special admission students. Though this is the first time I've actually been ambushed in a hallway. Seeing me ready to fight back, the man says he would love to oblige. But then someone appears. I turn around to find Professor Ariel walking slowly toward me. I watch him with some confusion, no idea what this guy's problem is. After walking away, the man's thoughts begin to stir. Sorry, security's too tight. I can't get any closer. But he'll send someone else over as soon as possible. His inner monologue sounds like he's reporting to someone. Who that someone is, only he knows. Once Ariel reaches me, she asks what happened. Honestly, it still feels strange to me. A student just kicked me out of nowhere and said that Eye of God special admission students like me have no right to walk around the academy. Professor Ariel carefully scans the surroundings. No weapons drawn, no argument in progress, and I'm not injured. That means she has no grounds to pursue what just happened. Ariel raises a hand and points in the direction the man left. Then why didn't you go after him and make him see stars? That catches me off guard. We're all classmates. Is it really necessary to go that far? Ariel lets out a long sigh. As your professor, I can't officially encourage that. But if something were to happen nearby, I might just happen to not notice. Hearing Ariel's not so subtle permission, I think it over and decide to let it go. I don't want to stir up too much trouble. There's something Ariel doesn't know, and she wants an answer straight from me. Are Eye of God special admission students really that unwelcome? I nod. People have mocked us before, but this is the first time it's come to blows. After hearing me out, Ariel repeats it quietly. So they really have been mocking you, is that right? Then her expression shifts. She looks almost hurt. I'm truly sorry. If only I had more influence here. I tell Ariel not to worry about it. If it weren't for her, I never would have gotten through the academy's gates in the first place. And Bella and the others will prove the Eye of God program was no mistake. After all, Professor, your judgment is anything but ordinary. I think back to those people from my past life. Every single one of them became a key fighter against the Liquidator. Ariel pauses for a moment after hearing my words. Then she smiles softly and nods. Thank you for your support. But Ariel doesn't want me acting as though the fault lies with everyone else. Among all the students in the Eye of God group, I'm the one she has the highest hopes for. Amy, Rick, Jacob, like the special admission students before them, they will all become top talents. But the first time I truly believed someone could surpass the limits of humanity itself, that was when I met you. I never expected Ariel to think so highly of me, placing me alongside those future powerhouses. But that kind of thinking is weakness. Whoever is pulling the strings behind the scenes may not have given up on summoning the Liquidator. I can't afford to let my guard down. That thing can wipe out every powerful fighter in a single strike. The reason I came back to this timeline is to make sure I can defeat it and take the fate of this world into my own hands. 3 days pass in the blink of an eye. Today's class is a live combat drill for the Sword Arts course. The instructor will pair students by name. Whoever gets matched up fights together. The moment I hear it's a live combat drill, I give it my full attention. I have to take this class seriously. If I mess up, people will start talking down on every Eye of God admission student. At the very least, I need to prove I can keep up with the regular students. And just then, of course, something ridiculous happens. My old rival shows up again. The instructor writes 2 names on the board, Gray and Leonhardt. Leonhardt is the top student of the Sword Arts course. In other words, the strongest first year. The instructor speaks calmly. I've tried to pair students of similar strength, so don't hold back. Treat this like a real fight. I'm cursing inwardly on repeat. Similar strength? I barely scraped into the academy on special admission. How am I supposed to be matched with the top student? On top of that, Leonhardt has never liked Eye of God students. After what happened last time, he's probably been itching to beat me black and blue. Just then, Leonhardt moves from behind me. Let's see what game he's playing. But to my surprise, he walks right up to me and says cheerfully, "Hey, nice to meet you." My expression shifts. I genuinely have no idea what this guy is after. He looks genuinely thrilled. Looks like we're paired up. I'm really happy about this. And in his mind, I never thought I'd get to cross blades with Gray. Being number 1 in class was absolutely worth it. Leonhardt has trained harder than anyone. So please, witness my true swordsmanship, Gray. His words make my expression go stiff. Just as I suspected, this guy wants payback. That smile of his is way too suspicious. Without a doubt, he's thrilled to finally have a legitimate reason to fight me. At the instructor's signal, the entire class splits into 2 teams and lines up in the center of the courtyard. The next moment, the duels begin. Everyone fights with everything they have. This is their chance to shine. No one is going to waste it. At the same time, Leonhardt moves in a flash. "Gray," he says with a gleam in his eye, "you'd better watch yourself." Clang. Our blades crash together in an instant. I'm genuinely surprised. He truly deserves to be the top student of the Sword Arts course. His attacks aren't quite perfect, but they're frighteningly close. The next moment, moment, a single swing from Leonhardt sends me flying. He moves in perfect sync with his blade, his whole body flowing like water. He's almost reached the unity of man and sword, a state where the fighter and the blade become one. Every strike is razor sharp. You're really something, Gray, Leonhardt says. I can't believe you didn't get in through the regular exam. At the sight of this, the other students stop their own duels one by one. They can barely believe it. A special admissions student going toe-to-toe with Leonhardt. Feeling the full force of his attacks, I'm quietly in awe. Leonhardt is a true genius. Every single strike leaves no opening whatsoever. Leonhardt admits I'm strong too. That actually irritates me a little. If you've got time to chat, use it to fight. Slash after slash. Our attacks cut through the air as we exchange dozens of blows in seconds. We're both moving at incredible speed, but I'm clearly on the losing end. No matter how fast I go, I can't shake Leonhardt. Still, this is about what I expected. I thought he'd take me out instantly, so lasting this long is already beyond my prediction. Even using both arms, I can't match his raw power. Leonhardt's swordsmanship is on another level. His textbook perfect technique and disciplined style have been honed to a terrifying degree. Even with the experience from my past life and the master's teachings, I have no confidence I can beat him. Just then, Leonhardt closes the gap between us in an instant. I bring my blade down, and the weight of Leonhardt's sword hits me like a wall. My stamina is running out fast. Leonhardt laughs. I could keep going like this all day. If I hadn't gone through special training under the Sword Saint, I would have been on the ground long ago. But why isn't he even breaking a sweat? Is fighting me really this easy for him? My stamina is nearly gone. I have to end this fight now. Then the instructor's words flash through my mind. Treat this duel like a real fight. I turn those words over carefully in my head, and an answer comes to me. At the same moment, Leonhardt's blade comes at me again. The moment he swings, I duck low and slip under the strike. Then I twist my hand just slightly. Leonhardt's eyes go wide. He didn't expect this at all. Thud. I land a kick straight to his ankle. To my own surprise, the impact launches Leonhardt into the air. While he's off balance, this is my moment to strike back. Leonhardt finally realizes what's happening. It seems Gray is treating this duel like a true fight to the death, but Leonhardt knows he absolutely cannot lose. The next moment, my sword stops at Leonhardt's throat, and I'm no better off. Leonhardt's blade is at my throat too. The distance between us is perfectly matched. 1 inch closer and we'd both be dead. I reach out a hand to help Leonhardt up. Call it a draw, but Leonhardt doesn't think it's that simple. In that final moment, all Leonhardt did was swing his sword. But I was different. If I had chosen to, I could have driven my blade through his heart. This is only a simulation, Leonhardt says. That's the only reason you aimed for my throat instead of my heart. Am I right? I let out a short laugh. Even with all the protective enchantments in place, pointing your sword at someone's heart in a practice duel is a bit much, don't you think? Leonhardt seems to settle. Then I lost this duel. Gray, you really are something. He turns and walks away with a smile. Thanks to you, I finally understand the difference between real combat and practice. Fighting isn't only about swordsmanship. I tell him not to take it so seriously. In the context of a sword arts class, what I did was practically cheating. He doesn't seem to hear me at all. The instructor said to treat it as a real fight. In a real fight, there's no such thing as cheating. Even as he speaks, his feet slowly turn back around. Gray, how about one more round? There's actually a faint blush on his face as he says it. I'm completely speechless. Another round already? My stamina hasn't even recovered. I only won because I caught him off guard. In a straight fight, I'd have no chance. This is beyond skill. His endurance simply outclasses mine. Just then, someone cuts in. Stop right there. Regardless of whether this is a live drill, this is still sword arts class. No one gave you permission to use anything other than swordsmanship. And another thing, how does a worthless special admission student like you end up paired with a top student? Don't get carried away just because you know a bit of magic. I can't believe he's actually pinning this on me. I didn't choose the pairing myself. Fortunately, Leonhardt speaks up for me. The instructor determined I was the only one qualified to face Gray. Please stay out of it. The noise draws the instructor over. As Leonhardt said, I arranged the pairing. I did say I would match students of similar strength, didn't I? The instructor believes I'm the only one who can stand against Leonhardt. At that, Leonhardt nods with satisfaction. The instructor's judgment is as sharp as ever. The instructor can see he's not happy. If you're so unhappy about it, feel free to test his strength yourself. Beat Gray and you'll have earned the right to face Leonhardt. At those words, the guy's face lights up with excitement. Now that's exactly what I was hoping for. He declares he earned his place here by defeating the examiner himself. Don't lump me in with those who barely passed, or those who didn't pass at all. Meanwhile, Leonhardt is laughing coldly to himself. He judges Gray purely by admission type without knowing Gray's true strength. It's like looking at a past version of myself. This won't end well for him. Leonhardt even sees this as a perfect opportunity, a chance for Gray's strength to be recognized by everyone. Leonhardt glares ahead with barely contained fury. He'd love to tear the guy apart. After all, this man had the nerve to interrupt his precious alone time with Gray. The guy feels a chill run down his spine and looks up in confusion. He's met with Leonhardt's furious glare. In his mind, Leonhardt seethes, "For this crime alone you deserve to suffer." Now the guy is thoroughly confused. Why is Leonhardt angry at him? Wasn't Leonhardt always against special admission students? Seeing all this, the instructor asks if I want to accept the challenge. I don't know exactly how strong he is, but if he got in through the regular exam, this fight won't be easy. One thing I can be sure of, his endurance and physical strength will exceed mine. Even with the master's brutal training, I can't overcome years of dedicated conditioning. I'm not exactly brimming with confidence, but losing shouldn't get me expelled at least. The instructor nods. Losing won't get you expelled. This is only a practice class. That said, neither of you should hold back. I accept the challenge and raise my sword ready. The moment the match starts, the challenger charges at me at full speed. Time to put special admission students back in their place, he sneers. Know your role. The next second, our swords clash. But something surprises me. His blade is far lighter than I expected. With a light push, I send him stumbling back. His expression freezes. He never expected me to overpower him. I keep my expression cold. His strength is nothing special. There must be something else up his sleeve. I have every reason to suspect he's holding back. No one struts around with that kind of confidence without a trump card. But what I don't expect is this. A casual swing of my sword, and I've drawn blood. He goes flying. I rush over to check on him. I was aiming for your sword just now. I didn't mean to hit your face. I thought you'd dodge. Then I watch him pick his sword back up. Again. He shouts through tears. You only got me because I wasn't ready. You won't get lucky a second time. Even the instructor looks like he has a headache. If you insist on asking for it, then I'll let him keep going until you've had enough. I'm done interfering. Round 2 begins. The challenger charges at me again with his sword raised. 1 minute later, I look at him with an awkward expression. Are you alright? The challenger is covered in lumps from head to toe. Even the instructor can't stand to watch anymore. Someone get him to the infirmary now. Once the challenger is gone, the instructor turns to the class and makes the announcement. This year's representatives are Gray and Leonhardt. Any objections? I'm not entirely sure what being a representative means. The instructor explains. In a few days, the top first years will challenge the second-year champions. It's a friendly match. Everyone fights to first contact. Then the instructor adds something else. First years lost 35 matches in a row. Not once have they won. But this year might be different. You and Leonhardt are both top-tier talents. You might just be able to turn the tide. 35 consecutive losses. I'm genuinely shocked. Is the gap between first and second year really that wide? The instructor nods. 1 year at this academy makes all the difference. Losing is the norm. It's practically expected. If you can put up a decent fight, that's already impressive. But if you win, it goes down in the academy's history as a miracle. Just being selected is considered an honor. The instructor leaves with a parting word. Don't stress too much. Just enjoy the fight. I rub my chin and think it over. The instructor seems completely unbothered. Is this inter-year tournament really not as serious as I thought? But as an Eye of God special admission student, this is the perfect opportunity to prove I can truly fight. I have to train hard. Meanwhile, on the other side of the academy, the professors gather for a meeting. The final item on the agenda is a proposal from Professor Boudra. His proposal, expel Eye of God special admission student Amy White. The one speaking is none other than Boudra, professor of the magic department. Ariel is having none of it. Why would you propose something like that? I'm the one responsible for overseeing Eye of God students. But Boudra says that's precisely the point. Amy White failed the third-year advancement exam, yet she was allowed to stay, simply because she's a special admission student. Every other student who failed that exam was expelled. Does that seem fair to anyone here? Ariel doesn't even bother arguing. As I've told you before, she is steadily progressing toward world-class combat ability. The backlash her body is currently suffering is severe. She can't perform at full strength. Without that, she would have passed long ago, and my students are my business. It's not your call to make. Another professor speaks up. Severe backlash, hidden potential, a useless student who's secretly a genius? How long are you going to keep pushing that fantasy? Ariel senses trouble. They came prepared. Her strength is real, the backlash is also real, but she can master it. Maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after. If we expel her, she may lose that chance forever. That tired old excuse. The other professors are done hearing it. You've used that same line before. Is your plan to keep someone who can't meet the academy's standards here indefinitely? What they don't understand is that Ariel is doing all of this for the academy's sake. She's doing everything she can to nurture extraordinary talent. Pushing someone out simply because they don't fit neatly into the system goes against everything the academy was built for. Then a heavyset professor speaks up. You dare talk about talent in front of me? Perhaps past special admission students were somewhat impressive, but this current batch, every single one of them is a failure. Another senior professor scoffs. Jacob, Rick, Amy White, Bella Albright, all mediocre. It seems the great Eye of God is losing its sharpness. Perhaps it's time to consider abolishing the Eye of God program altogether. At those words, Ariel's face goes pale. Abolish? How could you even suggest that? The founding council established this program years ago, but a majority vote among faculty can abolish it just the same. Have you forgotten that? Another voice joins in. Honestly, the current Eye of God students are far from impressive. I've heard Bella has made some progress, but that hardly counts as a significant achievement, and her magic capacity, frankly, it's questionable. Ariel tries to speak, but the professors keep cutting her off. They move in perfect coordination, tearing into every Eye of God student one by one. Ariel knows this is orchestrated. Their goal is to abolish the Eye of God special admission program, and she knows her position among the faculty holds little power now. But many professors do care whether the program benefits the academy. If Ariel wants them on her side, she has to give them no reason to speak against her. Boudra speaks with the air of a man who has already won. What's wrong? Struck dumb. At least you know you're past your prime. The professors beside him pile on. You may have had your glory days once, but perhaps you should retire before you ruin what's left of your reputation. Ariel can still recognize true talent. Those students need more time to grow. Given that time, they will prove themselves. All she needs to do is make sure none of them are expelled before that moment comes. As long as her students aren't expelled, she is willing to sacrifice anything. Just then, one professor speaks up. I've heard there's a student named Gray, very promising in swordsmanship. In that case, let him enter the inter-year tournament. At that, Boudra smiles, a cold, calculated smile. There's nothing more to discuss. He must compete. If Gray can prove himself in swordsmanship, we will use the result to decide the future of the Eye of God program. At those words, Ariel looks toward the Sword Saint seated nearby. The Sword Saint gives a slight shake of his head, a silent warning, don't let Gray fight. So Ariel refuses refuses the proposal. His abilities are not suited for simulated combat, a real fight to the death. That would be a different matter. The next moment, a professor slams his hand on the table. He stares at Ariel with barely controlled anger. Excuses again, Ariel? Fine. Then let's abolish the Eye of God program. Ariel's expression turns to shock. You don't understand. His abilities are beyond anything ordinary swordsmanship can measure. A suffocating silence fills the room. The headmaster moves to close the meeting. Let the Eye of God students compete in the inter-year tournament. We will decide the program's future based on their performance. Ariel's heart sinks. This is not what she wanted. Boudre looks like a man who has gotten exactly what he wanted. Now I'm looking forward to this match. Meeting adjourned. Before leaving, the Sword Saint gives Ariel one long, heavy look. His eyes are filled with concern for her. Ariel sits alone in her chair, completely still. She knows. My true strength was never fully revealed in a simulated fight, and her standing at this academy is simply too low to change anything. But things are what they are. She still hopes I can achieve something in the inter-year tournament. Ariel breaks down in tears. If Gray fails to make his mark, the Eye of God program may truly be abolished, and every one of those students will be expelled. She is counting on me to save them. And now, the day of the inter-year tournament has arrived. Today, the entire student body gathers to watch first year take on second year. First to be announced, first year's top student Leonhardt. His opponent is second year's top student Hamant. Next to be announced, first year challenger Gray, and my opponent is DeBoer. The moment I see him, something clicks. This is the same person who ambushed me in the hallway. Am I really about to face him in this match? Up in the stands, 3 or 4 rows of professors are seated, all eyes fixed on this fight. Boudre watches me with undisguised contempt. He wants to see exactly what I'm made of. Leonhardt asks his opponent whether this many professors usually show up to watch. The answer, not at all. First time he's seen it. Last year, only 3 sword arts professors bothered to attend. Hamant is just as puzzled. Why are there so many professors here today? Then something clicks for Leonhardt. The professors must have heard about Gray, he says with complete confidence. Their taste is impeccable. The more he thinks about it, the more certain he becomes. Hamant stares at him, speechless. Is the top student seriously this devoted to a special admission student? Up in the stands, Boudre responds to Leonhardt's words directly. You guessed correctly. We are here to witness the final battle of the Eye of God special admission students. I don't understand. Final? What does that mean? Boudre turns to Ariel at the sound of my confusion. You didn't tell him? Then he looks back at me and delivers the news with arrogant satisfaction. The Eye of God special admission program is about to be abolished by the academy. The words hit me like a blow. Is that true? Ariel simply lowers her head in silence. Silence is its own answer. So this is why Ariel kept it from me. If she had told me the truth, she feared I would use that power. And using it right now would be the same as throwing my life away. Then she gives me a faint smile. Boudre is just trying to break your focus. Don't let him get to you. Just fight. But I notice it. Ariel's hand is trembling ever so slightly. I slowly close my eyes and speak. Since you've said that, Professor. Boudre scoffs beside me. Do as you like. Go ahead and embarrass yourselves. In Boudre's mind, once you suffer your pitiful defeat, the other professors will finally see that Ariel and her Eye of God influence have lost their edge. Then I finish the sentence I started. Since the professor said that, there's no way I'm going to stand by and do nothing. Boudre's expression shifts with a flicker of surprise. I don't care if you look down on me, but I will not allow anyone to question Professor Ariel's judgment. Ariel looks just as shocked. She probably never expected me to say something like that. Boudre jabs a finger in my direction. And what strength did her eyes see in you exactly? Unlike your professor, those of us who haven't lost our minds all seem to agree. You're going to lose badly. His words actually make me glad. Then I'll just have to prove you wrong. Boudre looks ready to come down and hit me himself. Who does this arrogant kid think he is? But the professor beside him holds him back. Ariel slowly lowers her head. A quiet hope stirs somewhere inside her. The referee calls out to the competitors. Participants, take your positions with your partners. Ariel is deeply worried for me. If my opponent were simply a strong student, my combat-hardened swordsmanship might give me a fighting chance. But that's exactly where her fear lies. My opponent is something else entirely. DeBoer, a man who underwent surgical brain augmentation to push his reaction speed beyond human limits. He is, in every sense, a living weapon. Against Gray's ambush-based fighting style, he is the worst possible matchup. And all of this is that madman's doing. She hopes I won't use that power, even if it means losing. So in order to put me at ease, Ariel speaks to me. Gray, just fight your best. Don't worry about me. And please, don't push yourself past your limit. I give a small laugh. Understood. Don't worry about me, Professor. And now, the bout between the top students begins. Both representatives take the stage. The referee explains the rules. The arena has been reinforced with protective magic to prevent fatal injuries. Triggering your opponent's protective magic device counts as a victory. Fight as though your life depends on it. Both fighters look completely confident they'll come out on top. And this clash between the finest students of the year has every eye in the arena locked in. The match begins, and Leonhardt closes the distance immediately. Hamant's expression burns with excitement. Good. Your charge speed is impressive. Let me see what you've really got. Whoosh, whoosh. They move so fast their bodies leave after images. The air rings with the clash of 2 blades. When they come back into sight, the exchange is fierce and relentless. Then Hamant stomps the ground hard. His eyes shift completely. Now they're cold and filled with killing intent. His blade cuts straight toward Leonhardt's vital point. Leonhardt ducks sharply to avoid the strike. Then everyone watches a move they've seen before. Leonhardt plants his arm against the ground and kicks without hesitation. But the movement isn't as fluid as it needs to be, and Hamant finds just enough of an opening to dodge. Leonhardt sighs quietly. It seems I can't fight the way Gray does. Hamant doesn't hold back on the praise. You're quite good. Honestly, you're stronger than I was when I was a first year. Then his excitement spikes. Now let's pick up the pace. Let's see if you can keep up with me. Whoosh! After whoosh, Leonhardt reacts fast, but Hamant keeps him completely on the back foot. Before long, Leonhardt is pushed all the way back to the edge of the barrier. Hamant gives him no room to counter. He steps in and sweeps his blade straight at Leonhardt's throat. At the same moment, the protective magic device activates. The match is over. Leonhardt has lost. Both fighters sheathe their swords. Now it's time for the second match. As Leonhardt passes my shoulder, he says quietly, "Good luck. I made my declaration in front of everyone. Now I have to back it up. Before time turned back, I had defeated countless monsters that drove others to despair. Compared to that, the odds this time should still be in my favor." And at that moment, not far from me, a sword drags across the ground as its wielder slowly walks toward me. As he walks, he mutters, "Wait for me in hell. I'll send him to you shortly." So this grim figure intends for this to be a fight to the death and plans to leave my life here on this stage. Just now, I step into the combat arena for an inter-year tournament against an upperclassman from second year. The moment the match begins, I charge straight at him. Against this guy, I can't afford to hold anything back. But what I don't expect, he catches my strike. A slash that fast and he just takes it. Dieber swings back with a casual flick of his wrist and sends me flying across the stage. I can't help but be stunned. This guy's raw strength is on another level entirely. Even now, my arms are still trembling from the impact of blocking that single blow. Professor Ariel did mention his reaction speed had improved, but I never imagined his physical strength had been pushed this far too. The gap between us is enormous. No trick I pull is going to be enough. So how am I supposed to fight him? I still have one last card to play, but using it would tear me apart just as badly. Ariel warned me before, no matter what happens, never use that power. In the worst case, it could kill me on the spot. I gave her my word so she wouldn't have to worry. Ariel knows how important this tournament is. But the last thing she wants is for me to gamble my life on it. And there's another problem. The arena's protective barrier might not even hold against that kind of force. If I use it, I could kill Dieber outright. So I'm stuck. I need to win this match, but I can't use the one thing that could guarantee it. Before I can think any further, Dieber is already closing in, moving at terrifying speed. I have no other choice. I'll just have to figure it out as I go. I raise my blade and block another strike. With a sharp whoosh, Dieber snaps his wrist and launches another slash. His attacks flow like water, seamless, without a single break in rhythm. To my eyes, his technique is almost basic, but with his physical ability and reaction speed, taking me down should be effortless. It's not that he lacks skill, he's deliberately holding back. What is he planning? Then Dieber flashes me a cold, sinister grin. My gut drops instantly. This guy is up to something. At that same moment, his attack tears through my guard. In the next instant, he snaps his blade upward and takes aim. The strike is razor sharp, aimed straight at my eyes. There's no way I can dodge in time, and yet I bring my sword across and block it. That stops me cold. Why did he slow down and let me parry? I push him back with a quick counter, but the question is still gnawing at me. In the position I was in just now, there's no way I should have been able to block that in time. Something is deeply wrong. He could have finished me already, so why is he dragging this out? Up in the stands, Ariel senses it immediately. Every one of Dieber's stats is reading abnormally high. Without a moment's hesitation, she activates the Eye of God. She sees it, a mass of violet flame burning inside Dieber's chest. Even she can't identify what kind of power it is. But one thing is certain, whatever it is, it's extremely dangerous. The professors nearby scoff. This is a complete one-sided stomping. Is your precious student really not going to concede? They go on. This second year has quite the nasty streak. He could end it anytime he wants, yet he keeps dragging it out. Charming little hobby he's got there. The Eye of God student is barely keeping up with the second year's attacks, and he still won't give up. Doesn't that just prove how outmatched he is? Professor Budra's eyes gleam with mockery. Perhaps he already knows the Eye of God program is on its way out. Maybe this is his way of sending us a message, that if we keep waiting, the entire special admission system will collapse into chaos. The professor beside him nods along. Exactly right. What a thoughtful student, truly dedicated to the Academy's well-being. Ariel's voice cuts through their exchange. Stop the match right now. This is dangerous. Professor Budra raises an eyebrow. Dangerous? What do you mean? You're talking about a sparring match. Another professor assumes. She doesn't know. Allow me to explain. The arena is covered by a powerful protective enchantment. Any attack with the potential to cause lethal harm is automatically neutralized. That enchantment, it's the near-invisible blue barrier surrounding the stage. That's why students can fight at full force without fear. Unless you have some other reason to stop it, Ariel knows all of this. But it's not enough to protect Gray. The moment those words leave his mouth, a terrifying wave of energy erupts from Dieber's body. Dark aura billows outward, creeping toward the stands, and even Ariel feels a chill run through her. The dread building inside her grows heavier by the second. Her suspicion is confirmed. Something is deeply wrong with this guy. He's trying to kill Gray. Dieber drops into his attack stance. Dark aura coils and writhes around his entire body. With a thunderous boom, he swings without hesitation. A massive sword aura tears through the air in his direction. My heart seizes. This power, it's on a completely different scale. There's no way I can meet it head on. The sword aura surges skyward. A massive explosion shakes the entire arena. When the dust finally settles, I swallow hard. That force, it's absolutely terrifying. A deep gash splits the combat stage clean in two. If I hadn't moved when I did, that would have been me. What shocks me most is that he sliced right through the protective barrier formation. That means the magical protection around this arena is completely useless against him. Lucky for everyone, he didn't shatter the final defensive layer. Otherwise, Professor Budra would probably be dead right now. This is the moment Ariel seizes. I told you, that barrier cannot stop his attacks. She throws out her hand and casts a spell. That damn Bradley. I can't believe he implanted something like this inside a student. She's trying to break through the barrier formation from outside and get in to restrain Dieber, but her power alone isn't enough to shatter shatter the formation. She can't get a binding spell through. Left with no other option, she turns to the others behind her. This is an emergency. Deactivate the barrier and cancel the match. Now, someone will die if you don't. But those professors are frozen in shock, too busy panicking to hear a word she said. No wonder they're always the first ones to run when a real crisis breaks out. Ariel glances at the stage. Breaking this up from the outside is going to take time. Time she doesn't know if Gray has. She calls out to me, "Run, stall the match. Believe me, I want to run." The problem is actually getting away. In the next second, Deber launches at me again, sticking to me like a shadow, giving me no room to breathe. If I turn my back on him for even a moment, I'm dead. The sheer force of that last slash sends a wave of fear through everyone watching in the stands. The Sword Saint watches in silence. The professor's spells will take at least 30 seconds to reach the stage. On a battlefield, 30 seconds is an eternity. I think we have no choice. It may be a little soon, but he believes I can do it. Back on the stage, I keep moving, weaving, dodging, buying every second I can. The Sword Saint rises to his feet and shouts, "Imagine your body is the sword. Stop swinging the blade. Use that power to move your body instead." I hear him loud and clear. The problem is Deber isn't giving me an opening, but I trust the Sword Saint. He wouldn't set me up to fail, so I push off and create some distance between me and Deber. Let's see if this works. I am a lone sword. I focus, channeling everything into a single concentrated point. I stop thinking about the attack coming at me. I pour everything into one thought. I am the sword. Deber's strike closes in. I don't move, not an inch. With a thunderous crash, his attack slams into the protective barrier, and I'm already gone. At the same moment, Deber's expression snaps into pure shock, because I'm standing right behind him, and a formidable surge of power is radiating from my body. Deber can't believe it. How did his speed jump this high, this fast? From my perspective, his movements have gone sluggish. In other words, I'm faster than him now. So this must be what the Sword Saint called the unity of man and sword. In the next instant, I strike without hesitation, and it plays out exactly as I predicted. The protective magic device on his face activates. As my power floods into the blade, Deber's protective device begins to crack apart piece by piece. Then his body is launched backward with tremendous force. I deliberately missed his vitals, but that's irrelevant now. What matters is that I've destroyed the protective magic device. That means I've won. The sheer force of the blow craters the combat stage beneath him. Up on the platform, Professor Budra goes pale. He can't believe my attack just shattered the protective barrier. What kind of fight is this? The Sword Saint quickly calls out to the referee. "Go check on the other student. That last strike, it shouldn't have hit anything vital." The referee moves immediately, calling for the medical team. But in the next moment, a hand claws its way up from the crater. Dark aura writhes and coils around his entire body. The Sword Saint's eyes narrow. Something is definitely wrong with this guy. Dark aura pours from every inch of him, his hair standing on end. He lets out a furious roar toward the sky. He has completely lost his mind. Ariel immediately warns me, "The fight isn't over. Stay sharp." But every instinct I have is screaming at me to run. Waves of dark aura surge toward me from every direction. Not only do they carry an overwhelming pressure, they hit with real force and impact. I have no choice but to keep falling back and holding my distance. To my eyes, the dark aura's attack speed isn't quite fast enough to land on me. But the combat stage itself is being obliterated. Professor Budra is frozen in disbelief. Behind him, people are already scrambling to flee. At the same time, the magic squad arrives. 2 or 3 of them begin working to deactivate the barrier, but it'll take at least 10 more seconds to fully bring it down. 10 seconds feels like an eternity on this battlefield. Those 10 seconds could decide everything. All I can think about is surviving those 10 seconds until the teachers can intervene. But looking at the monster in front of me, he's not going to give me that chance. He's already made up his mind to kill me. His body blurs, and he's right in front of me before I can even react. I throw my sword up just in time to block. But that power, that speed, it sends a chill straight through me. No human being should be capable of this. Something is very wrong with him. Then again, neither am I. I'm hardly one to talk. In the next instant, I mirror what he just did. My silhouette vanishes from where I stood. When I reappear, I'm behind him, and my strike is already fully charged. My eyes are filled with the same killing intent. He came here to end me, so I won't be showing any mercy either. Deber's reaction speed is remarkable even now, but to my eyes, it's still not fast enough. Then it happens. A mouthful of blood spills from my lips. Is the mysterious power inside me overloading my body? Outside the barrier, Ariel is frantic with worry, screaming at me to run and stop engaging. But what she doesn't know is, the moment I turn my back, I'm dead. His power has surpassed anything I imagined. The only thing I can do now is fight back. In this moment, I channel every last drop of the mysterious power within me into my blade. If you want to fight to the death, then that's exactly what you'll get. But even that isn't enough. I need more power. Far more. After what feels like an eternity, I feel the power reach its peak. Now, it's my turn to hunt. With a clean, sickening slash, 2 severed arms fly through the air. Deber's body is blasted away. Both arms, gone. I spared his head deliberately. I need to find out what was done to him. What kind of procedure turned him into this? Deber's pupils fade to nothing. A single ragged scream tears from his throat, and then he's out. This time, the only mercy I showed was letting him live. With a heavy thud, Deber collapses to his knees. Dark aura continues to seep from his severed arms. Ariel is stunned. The 2 magic professors behind her are too. None of them expected me to actually win. When the fight ends, the entire combat stage is in ruins. At that same moment, the barrier is finally brought down. A crowd of instructors led by Ariel rushes onto the stage toward me. Ariel restrains Deber without a word, not sparing a second thought for how badly he's wounded. I pull myself to my feet, trembling. Finally, it's over. But the next moment, something is very wrong. Blood erupts from wounds all across my body, every cut and gash sustained during the fight, all of them tearing open at once. The sight nearly stops Ariel's heart. "Gray, you have to be okay." She converts every drop of her magical power into healing magic and pours it into me. 3 more professors rush in from behind. Ariel wastes no time. "Heal him, now!" A warm wave of energy envelops me. Slowly, my eyes open. A faint smile crosses my lips. The Eye of God special admission. I kept it. Seeing me awake, Ariel lets out a long, relieved breath, but a second later she freezes. She didn't expect me to just stand up. Two of the professors stare in disbelief. Are you sure you're alright? You're already on your feet? I look to Ariel and ask her to check me with the Eye of God. Ariel slowly removes her glasses. Blue light blazes to life in her left eye, but as she scans my condition, her expression shifts to pure shock. She can barely believe what she's seeing. After channeling that much power, my soul doesn't have a single scratch on it. As for my body, the healing magic has done its work. There shouldn't be any pain left. The Sword Saint chuckles quietly from the side. Looks like it worked. We managed to reduce the backlash exactly as I anticipated. Ariel turns to him with a sharp edge in her voice. Is that what you call reducing the impact? The Sword Saint senses something off in her tone. He glances over and sees exactly what he feared. Ariel is visibly fuming. If it weren't for the defensive magic, he would have died. The Sword Saint tries to calm her down. We kept the damage within the range that healing magic could handle. All things considered, that's a good result. Ultimately, the Sword Saint wants me to be able to withstand the backlash on my own one day. It takes time, and now I understand why he's been pushing me so hard in training. That's what all of this was for. All in all, a lot of things went off script, but the outcome is acceptable. Then Ariel glances over at Debur, now little more than a stump on the ground. This guy had way too much bloodlust in him. Ariel turns to the nearby professor. I think it's time you made the official call on who won this match. Unless you've lost your sight, you should have seen clearly that Debur's protective magic device was triggered by Gray's strike. The winner of this match is Gray, first year. The crowd in the stands erupts. A first year just beat a second year prodigy. Chants of admiration flood the arena. Gray is incredible. The Eye of God special admissions really do produce something extraordinary. This victory ends the first year's 35% match losing streak. Frankly, the Sword Saint doesn't think the record matters anymore. After witnessing this fight, who could possibly question Ariel's judgment in granting that special admission? The principal gives a quiet chuckle. Having witnessed this, we have no choice but to admit she was right. No one will dare support the proposal to abolish the Eye of God special admission anymore. If anything, we should be ashamed for ever considering it. We nearly turned away a student with this kind of talent. Ariel doesn't join the conversation. She stands apart from the others alone. Her body trembles slightly, not from fear, but from emotion. Gray gave her quite the surprise today. A quiet smile spreads across her face. Her eyes glisten with tears she doesn't bother to hide. A bald instructor speaks up. In fact, those who push to abolish the Eye of God program owe everyone a serious reflection on their own responsibility. The moment he says it, every pair of eyes in the room turns to Professor Budra and his group. Cold sweat beads on their foreheads. For once, they have nothing to say. A moment later, they scramble to make excuses and slip away. Watching them scurry off, everyone laughs. Never make an enemy of a god. The old saying still holds, though compared to how she once was, Ariel has mellowed considerably. Times have changed after all. Meanwhile, Ariel is still arguing with the Sword Saint, but he's doing his best to tune her out because she always wins the argument. Ariel doesn't notice that I'm watching her quietly. Did something happen to her in the past? Then the principal's voice comes from behind me. Now that the commotion has died down, there are a few things I'd like to discuss with you. I'm curious, what could he possibly want with me? But one look at his expression gives me a pretty good guess. It's probably about the mysterious power. I keep that to myself and simply ask what this is about. The principal tells me that during the match, it was clear that Debur had been forcibly infused with some kind of unnatural power. We will be launching a full investigation, but the fact remains, a match that should have been completely safe nearly cost a student his life. He bows his head respectfully and apologizes. The academy failed to detect the anomaly in advance, and for that, it bears full responsibility. He came to apologize personally. I give a quiet laugh, relieved he isn't asking about my power. Please don't worry about it. No lasting harm was done in the end. The principal adjusts his glasses. Thank you for your understanding. Now then, after Debur lost control, you also released some kind of power, didn't you? I sigh inwardly. Nobody in this academy is exactly the straightforward type. They all love the whole friendly first then hostile routine. Sure enough, he went exactly where I was afraid he would. It didn't look like magic, he says. It was something far stranger, a type of power that modern magical theory can't even begin to analyze. He wants to know why I'm studying a power like that. I close my eyes slowly. I don't know how to answer that. No matter what I say, I can't explain what lives inside me. Until I complete my mission, I can't let anything slip, especially not while the mastermind behind the Liquidator is still hiding somewhere in the shadows. So I tell him plainly, I don't know. The principal isn't buying it for a second. You've used that power yourself and you're telling me you don't know what it is? I explain again. I didn't know I had that power inside me. It was Professor Ariel who discovered it and explained it to me. Ariel glances over at me. She doesn't know what I'm plotting, but she knows every word I just said was a lie. By the time I defeated the Ogre General, I was already able to use that power freely. I catch her eye and send a silent message. Please, go along with this. To stop the Liquidator, I need you to keep playing the role of the one who holds the power. Ariel reads my expression perfectly. So that's your game. You've really thought this through. Honestly, you don't act anything like someone experiencing life for the first time. Don't tell me you're one of those reincarnated heroes from a fantasy novel. Then again, that's too ridiculous to even consider. Ariel walks over slowly. Since you've placed that much trust in me, I suppose I have no choice but to stand up for you. Ariel addresses the principal directly. As you observed, Gray's power cannot be analyzed through conventional magical theory. However, I can see it clearly with my eyes. After studying his power, I asked Professor Heathcote to assist with his training. That's what made today's level of control possible. I'm still researching how to properly guide and develop it. But as for everything related to Gray's power, may I ask that it be left entirely in my hands? The principal nods. Having watched that fight myself, I'm in no position to refuse. He then makes his decision. From this point forward, all operations operations, whether involving Gray or the entire Eye of God special group, will be commanded by Professor Ariel, and should the Academy be able to assist in any way, they need only ask. Both Ariel and I blink in surprise. The Academy just handed her full authority. We exchange a glance, and in that look, we're both smiling. The principal speaks again. Now then, let's proceed to the underground medical ward to examine Deborah's condition. I'll need your eyes for this. Please come with me. With that, Ariel and the principal leave together. 3 hours pass in what feels like an instant. The moment Ariel finishes her investigation, she calls me in immediately. According to her findings, the power used in Deborah's body is nearly identical to the Liquidator's power. The power that erupted from Deborah is exactly the same as what we witnessed in that laboratory. Without a doubt, the same dark crystal from that research facility was used on him, but I can't quite grasp it. What exactly happened to him? Then Ariel says something that stops me cold. That person was already dead long ago. All that remained of his soul was the ability to receive and execute commands. So when that power was triggered, Deborah immediately lost control. All of it was a result of what was done to him. It's possible that the moment the power was implanted inside him, the person he was ceased to exist. And the reason he came specifically to challenge you, you've been targeted. This was retaliation for the death of Professor Bradley. That thought leads me somewhere darker. If Deborah was tampered with after Balian's death, doesn't that mean there's a third party involved? Ariel is sharp. She's already thought of that. Exactly. There's definitely a bigger player hiding behind all of this. I'll keep digging into the connections, but it's going to take time. Ariel's instincts tell her the Academy itself is somehow involved. The World United Academy is far less straightforward than anyone thought. I tell her I understand, and that if there's anything she needs, she only has to say the word. Ariel rests her hand on the windowsill, letting the last warmth of the setting sun fall across her fingers. She speaks quietly. Thank you. Because of you, what should have been a losing situation was turned around, and about your power, it seems you've learned to use it without damaging your soul. I scratch the back of my head sheepishly. Yeah, though the backlash on my body was worse than before. But what Ariel says next leaves me puzzled. She tells me not to worry because the Sword Saint has advanced my training to the next stage. My heart leaps. Is that really true? The Sword Saint deserves full credit for this. Without him, I never would have been able to manage the power's recoil. Ariel nods. He'll guide you through the next stage of training. Train under him, and you'll learn to control that power at a level far beyond where you are now. The next day, I begin training with the Sword Saint. This time, the training ground is filled with combat dummies surrounding me from all sides. The Sword Saint calls out from behind me. Training like this is dangerous and painful. If you're willing to take a slower pace, there are safer options. Are you sure about this? Behind the Sword Saint, a group of instructors watches closely. They're taking me seriously. Now, I nod. This is exactly the kind of dangerous training I need to push my power to the next level. Seeing my resolve, the Sword Saint stops arguing. Then begin. I close my eyes slowly and center myself. I recall what the Sword Saint told me before. Imagine yourself as the sword. I am a lone sword. I hold on to that feeling. Gradually, the mysterious power begins to surface along the blade. Before I even realize it, the power has spread through my entire body. I open my eyes. Training begins now. With a single sharp slash, every combat dummy in front of me is reduced to fragments. The speed of that strike, it's at the absolute limit. With the mysterious power flowing through the blade, a casual swing is more than enough to shatter them. Wherever my silhouette passes, the slightest flick of the sword shatters everything in my path. My goal today, destroy every last dummy, as fast as possible. The other instructors watching are visibly stunned. Unbelievable, his speed is extraordinary, but the Sword Saint's expression is more complicated. He spotted something wrong. At that moment, I swing at the next combat dummy. The next moment, blood bursts from across my body, just like before, but I know I can't stop. Gritting through the pain, I swing again, and after that final slash, I collapse. That's the cue for the instructors behind me. They step forward immediately, channeling healing magic into my body. As the healing magic flows through me, the blood across my forehead gradually fades. I'm completely unfazed, like nothing happened. Thank you. The Sword Saint laughs. Not bad, you held on a little longer than last time. With enough repetition, your body should gradually learn to endure the backlash. I flex my wrist. I was so focused that I missed something important. While I was in that heightened state, I couldn't feel the pain. But the truth is, using this power is excruciating. The Sword Saint walks toward me slowly. Pain and suffering mean you're pushing past your limits. I know this training is excessive. Whether you continue is your choice, and I answer him with actions. Excessive or not, I'm going to keep going. I don't have the luxury of time. I ask the Sword Saint for another round. I need my body to adapt to this power as quickly as possible. But then, the sound of heels clicks into the room, and a voice tells us to stop. It's Professor Ariel. She does not look pleased. She tells me flatly, this training can only be done once per day. She's looking out for me. Repeating it could cause damage. I tell her it's fine. My body's already been healed by the other instructors. Using this method, my soul shouldn't be taking any damage. But Ariel disagrees. Physical damage can be healed, but if your mind takes another heavy hit before it's fully stabilized, that's a different problem entirely. It could end up affecting the very level at which you can wield your sword. I know this better than anyone. I've lived through it firsthand. That hidden injury was the very reason I couldn't unleash my full power when it mattered most. The Sword Saint speaks up. Honestly, I'm relieved. Even I couldn't handle repeating this kind of training multiple times in a day. Listen to Ariel. With a thunderous crash, the Sword Saint drops the armor he's been holding onto the ground. The impact alone makes clear just how heavy it is. One of the instructors speaks up, puzzled. Great. Why are you in such a rush to get stronger? You're already powerful enough. Ariel steps in quickly to deflect the question. This is my fault. I was the one who pulled Gray into the the conflict with Bradley. Because of that, the people behind Bradley now see Gray as a target. The Deber incident is just the beginning. Someone is operating in the shadows within this academy, and the bloodthirsty, the criminal group that may have stolen Bradley's magical catalyst, could come for him at any moment. So isolating him behind heavy security won't solve it. There's no guarantee they could fully protect him. The only answer is to become stronger himself. That's the only way to survive. After hearing her words, I place my hand over my chest. Don't worry about me. Stopping Balian's experiments was my own choice. I will stop this, no matter what. Because if we don't, humanity is finished. Ariel nods with quiet satisfaction. You're an exceptional student. What I can do is help you bring that power to its absolute fullest potential. The Sword Saint bursts out laughing. Sounds like you already have something in mind, don't you? Ariel continues. Don't tell me you've forgotten the fastest safe method for a swordsman to grow stronger. At that, the Sword Saint glances over at me and gives me a slow, deliberate look up and down. I stand there watching him curiously, wondering what he's thinking. The Sword Saint gives a wry smile. For a swordsman, the fastest solution is a new sword. I instinctively glance down at the sword at my hip. It's the Academy-issued blade, supposedly a top-tier custom weapon. Ariel cuts in. That sword may be top-tier for a first-year student. It can't withstand your power. I look at the blade. She's right. There are already several chips along the edge. As she said, my current power could destroy this sword without much effort. Ariel gives a knowing smile. Don't worry, I'm going to take you to my treasure vault to choose a proper weapon. The Sword Saint raises an eyebrow. You're really going to let him pick from there? Ariel waves it off. It's fine. Gray has more than earned it. She raises her hand with a sweeping motion. Then she twists, reaching into the empty air itself. The next moment, a blinding blue light tears open in the air before us. I stare in disbelief as what appears to be a door slowly materializes out of nowhere. Ariel turns her head and gives me a quiet, amused smile. Gray, why are you just standing there? Come on in. It's time to pick your weapon. The next moment, I step into Professor Ariel's weapon vault. The second I walk in, I'm completely stunned. Sprawled before my eyes are enormous jars packed with gold coins, and countless strange blueprints of every kind. The wealth stored here is more than dozens of generations could ever earn in a lifetime. And soon, I'll be choosing a weapon from this very vault. The vault is so massive that even Professor Ariel herself has forgotten where the sword storage section is. I'm left completely speechless by everything I see. The Sword Saint speaks calmly. What you're here to do today is simple. Pick a sword. Professor Ariel tells me not to hold back. Pick the best one. This chance won't come again. I scan the room. Every single sword here is exquisitely crafted. I honestly don't know where to begin. Professor Ariel chuckles. Too many choices can be just as paralyzing as none at all. Ideally, I'd love for you to test every sword here at full power. But given how unique your strength is, we can only test one sword per day. So let's narrow it down and go through them one by one. She picks up the sharpest looking sword in the room. Let's start with this one. The moment I grip it, something feels off. This sword is absurdly heavy. Swinging it would kill my speed. Professor Ariel knows this, of course. But its cutting power is exceptional, she adds. She snaps her fingers and a wooden post appears right in front of me. I swing the sword. With a thunderous crash, the wooden post is obliterated. Just as Professor Ariel said, its sharpness is on another level. I'm genuinely shocked. I've never seen a blade this sharp in my life. But both Professor Ariel and the Sword Saint agree. This sword isn't right for me. The power is undeniable, but in real combat it's too sluggish. No matter how sharp a blade is, it means nothing if it can't hit its target. I'm not so sure about that. Against massive, heavily armored enemies, divine beasts, fortifications, this might actually be the perfect weapon. Professor Ariel tells me not to worry. She's going to give me a magical storage pouch. As long as I carry it, the sword won't get in the way. Surely you can't just give away a sword like this? I say. Professor Ariel chuckles. What are you talking about? This sword has been gathering dust in here. Isn't it better off in the hands of someone who can actually use it? And when you come face to face with whoever is pulling the strings behind Bali and Bradley, whoever is summoning the Liquidators, can you honestly say you won't regret not having it? She has a point. Whether or not we're here won't change anything, even if we train with everything we have. In that case, I'll gratefully accept it. Thank you, Professor Ariel. The Sword Saint walks over slowly. Unless you intend to use it, try not to let others see you with this sword. His words puzzle me. He explains. If this sword were ever put on the market, it would be worth at least 10 billion. No less than 10,000 gold coins. My jaw nearly hits the floor. I've never heard a number that absurd in my life. I never expected Professor Ariel to hand over something this valuable so casually. I immediately try to give it back, but she waves me off. I don't accept returns, especially not on something someone's already handled. My expression makes her burst out laughing. I said it's yours and I mean it. That way you won't hold back when you use it. I think she must be joking, but she tells me she never jokes. If spending 10 billion can protect an Eye of God special admission student, I'm more than happy to do it. This sword is a reward for everything you've done. Even so, I hesitate in front of such an extraordinary gift. Professor Ariel finds my hesitation wishy-washy. What are you saying, 10 billion isn't worth spending? Am I, Ariel, really that unimpressive to you? I finally accept the sword and I promise her I'll take good care of it. That finally brings a satisfied smile to her face. Beyond that, there are plenty of standard swords suited for everyday combat. Come take a look. I never imagined Professor Ariel's treasure vault would be this breathtaking. The Sword Saint beside me murmurs, there is no one in this world whose vision rivals that of Ariel, the Eye of God. That's why she can generate wealth effortlessly whenever she pleases. Professor Ariel turns to the Sword Saint. As a good teacher, which one do you think is best? The Sword Saint begins scanning the collection carefully. His gaze settles on a sword with a golden hilt. Gray, give this one a try. See how it feels. I pick it up and examine it closely. With a sharp whoosh, I swing it down, and the feeling is wonderful. It feels incredibly light in my hand. I swing again. Whoosh whoosh. And the crisp sound of the blade cutting through the air is almost musical. The more I swing, the better it feels. I go through over 20 strikes in a row. It handles well. A finely crafted sword, no question. But something still feels slightly off. Is it just that I haven't gotten used to it yet? The Sword Saint has been watching my movements the whole time. It doesn't seem to suit you. Try a different one, Gray. He moves toward the far end of the room. This one was built for experimental purposes. It might be what you're looking for. He tilts his head, gesturing for me to look. I have a feeling you'll like this one. The moment I lay eyes on it, I freeze for a full 2 seconds. There's something unmistakably unusual about this sword. It pulls me in immediately. I stand there, transfixed. One glance and it's obvious. This is no ordinary blade. The Sword Saint tells me to go ahead and pick it up. The moment I lift it, my eyes go wide. It's far lighter than I expected. And then I notice something else. This sword has no edge at all. This was designed to test new techniques. It was never meant for real combat, the Sword Saint explains. It's essentially an unsharpened block of steel, but it's extraordinarily durable. Gray, this sword might actually be perfect for you.
You mean my strength doesn't even require a sharpened blade?
Exactly. I suspect no sword, no matter how powerful, can truly contain your strength. The Sword Saint fixes me with a measured look. If you keep growing stronger, every sword in this vault may eventually hold you back. They'll only slow your progress. If that's the case, wouldn't it be better to look toward a future where you no longer rely on the blade itself to fight? With that, I slowly hand the sword back to him. In the next instant, the Sword Saint swings and slices clean through the iron post. So this is the true power of the Sword Saint. But the iron post doesn't stop there. It continues to change. Moments later, it melts into a puddle of liquid slag. I'm completely dumbstruck. This sword can do that? This is what it truly means, to cut through iron like mud. Professor Ariel sighs. You just wanted to show off, didn't you? She turns to me. Personally, I think Gray should stick with a conventional sword, but I suppose there's no harm in experimenting. Professor Ariel asks if there are any other weapons I want to test. If you'd like to try something besides a sword, I can take you to another section. I glance around and shake my head. It's fine. There are far too many swords here, let alone other weapons. Testing them one by one would eat too much into my training time, so I decide to try just a few more before heading out. I spot a red sword that catches my eye. Compared to the first one, it looks much lighter and far more solid. I start walking toward it, but my steps suddenly halt. My eyes drift to another spot entirely. Something catches my senses, a faint presence. I look up. There it is, a white sword. Slender, exceptionally long. What makes it feel strange is the nagging sensation that I've seen this sword somewhere before. I turn to Professor Ariel. Can you tell me anything about this sword? Professor Ariel thinks it over carefully. I believe it was left behind by a former student when they graduated. It's not a legendary blade by any means, but the craftsmanship is excellent. That only makes me want to try it even more. I reach out and take it. The feeling is immediately comfortable, as if the handle was shaped precisely for my grip. I carry the sword over to a wooden post. I give it a light flick of the wrist. Then I swing hard, and the wooden post splits cleanly in two. Even Professor Ariel and the Sword Saint didn't see that coming. I'm stunned with joy. I never expected such a perfect fit. It feels as though I've been training with this very sword since the day I was born. An inexplicable sense of familiarity. Professor Ariel bursts out laughing and walks over. Gray, I take it you like this one? Very much, Professor Ariel, I say without hesitation. I stare at the sword in my hand, the joy impossible to hide. I've never held a sword this perfectly suited to me in my entire life. Professor Ariel waves her hand. Then give it a proper test. Let's see how well it holds up against your strength. I hesitate. But isn't this your former student's sword? What if I damage it? Professor Ariel tells me not to worry. I'm sure this sword would much rather be used than left on a shelf collecting dust. Trust me. She's right when I think about it. No sword wants to spend its days gathering dust in a vault. I ask who made it. Professor Ariel says his name was Metatron. My eyes go wide with shock. Of course I've heard that name. Metatron, the greatest magic swordsman in the world. A legendary genius of sword crafting. I never imagined this sword was forged by his hands. We head out of the vault. Today, we'll begin testing with the first sword. Professor Ariel chuckles. To test its strength and durability, I need you to push the sword to its absolute limit. She hands me the sword. Seeing her like this, something stirs quietly in my chest. Before I take it, Professor Ariel adds, we'll start with the most unusual one first. Let's see what your power does to it. I walk over to the wooden post. I close my eyes slowly and begin drawing out the mysterious power from deep within me. In an instant, that familiar red energy rises across my body. I can summon it with ease now. I snap my eyes open, and my aura has completely dispersed. That's strange. I've never had this happen before. I glance at the Sword Saint. Give me a moment. I'll try again. I gather the power once more, willing it to coil around the blade. I repeat it silently in my mind. I am one with the sword. I want my power in this blade to become one. But it happens again. The power I build up is scattered by the sword itself. Again, I'm baffled. What's going on? Why can't I channel my power into the blade? Professor Ariel notices something is wrong and steps up to me. Gray, do you feel anything unusual in your body? No, I tell her. Nothing feels off on my end. Professor Ariel falls into thought. If that's the case, then the problem must be the sword itself. Let's set it aside and try a different one. She reassures me. Maybe it's just not compatible with your unique ability. Don't be too discouraged. Professor Ariel reaches for the magical storage pouch at her side. In that case, let's try with the most ordinary sword. Professor Ariel's gaze sharpens. She slowly draws a sword from the pouch. Let's see what you can do with this one. I'm certain you'll be pleasantly surprised. I take the sword from her and get ready. I repeat it over and over in my mind. I am a lone blade. I am one with the sword. I will become one with it. Gradually, the mysterious power begins to emerge, wrapping itself around the blade. The next moment, red energy engulfs my entire body. This time, my aura holds. I let out a quiet laugh. Finally, looks like the problem really was the sword. But then my focus suddenly sharpens. A voice echoes in my mind. While there is still time, the sudden words leave me frozen. I look toward Professor Ariel and the Sword Saint. Neither of them reacts. It seems only I can hear it. The mysterious voice speaks again when that moment arrives. I have absolutely no idea what it means. Behind me, the Sword Saint speaks. Having that sword carry his power shouldn't be an issue. I step alone into the area with the combat dummies. In an instant, I vanish from where I stood. With a sharp slash, I carve straight through the iron armor dummy in front of me. I assess the output carefully. The raw power is about the same as before, but there's a clear difference. Every swing flows with incredible smoothness. I bring the sword down again, splitting another dummy. The silky motion makes every strike feel effortless. My body feels impossibly light. A single leap carries me an enormous distance in an instant. I move and cut, and within moments, dozens of iron armor dummies have fallen. With every swing, my sword aura fans out like an automatic sweep. Every piece of armor caught in its path is severed instantly. Every professor watching is stunned. The speed is incomprehensible, nothing like what they saw from him before. From a distance, my figure has completely disappeared. All that's visible is red sword aura, slashing relentlessly in every direction. In this moment, I feel as if I'm flying. The sensation of complete freedom peaks inside me. With a heavy clang, I bring my sword down and take the head clean off another iron armor dummy. My eyes flash. I decide to push harder. I want to test my absolute limit speed. But the next second, I stop cold. Every single post and dummy in front of me has already been destroyed. I'm surprised. I've already completed today's objective, but why does it feel like almost no time passed at all? I look around. The number of targets is exactly the same as before, yet my speed has more than doubled. With the same amount of time, I used to clear about half the targets. Now I've wiped out every single one. Not far away, Professor Ariel watches me, puzzled. She calls my name, no response. That unsettles them. Why is he just standing there? Then Professor Ariel suddenly realizes something is wrong. She shouts toward me, "Gray, can you hear me?" The moment her voice lands, my sword clatters to the ground, and then I cough up a mouthful of blood. My body buckles involuntarily. Everyone reacts immediately, casting healing magic. They have to keep Gray safe. A surge of powerful healing energy wraps around me. Slowly, I manage to stand back up, but my body has hit its limit. I'm completely drained. It baffles me. It wasn't even as intense as last time. So why can't I summon any strength? The Sword Saint tells me not to push it. "Come back with me first, we'll talk after." Professor Ariel delivers her verdict. "Even with healing magic, excessive blood loss drains your stamina entirely. You need to rest." The Sword Saint tells me I've broken through a barrier that was thought to be unbreakable. That's a good sign, but you still can't afford to push yourself past the edge. Professor Ariel crouches down and picks up the sword. Acting without awareness of your own physical condition is just as dangerous. In real combat, if there's no dedicated healer with you, you need to be careful. Professor Ariel raises the sword and examines it carefully with her eye of God. What she finds astonishes her. After everything it just went through, not a single scratch on the blade. This is a truly extraordinary sword. The student who left this sword behind was clearly no ordinary person, and the sword's glow seems even more intense than before. Is it her imagination, or could this be a growth-type weapon? Professor Ariel studies the reflection on the blade intently. The longer she looks, the more uneasy she becomes. Then she spins around sharply. She sensed a killing intent. "What's wrong, Professor?" I ask. At that exact moment, a massive explosion tears through the academic building. The shockwave is powerful, enough to whip Professor Ariel's hair violently in the wind. The Sword Saint and I are both left stunned. What is going on? With a thunderous roar, chunks of debris rain down in front of us. I look up, and the World United Academy building is already engulfed in smoke and flames. Students are fleeing in every direction, faces pale with panic. Some of the professors have already activated magic barriers, prioritizing the protection of the students. I'm still in a daze. What happened? This all came out of nowhere. The Sword Saint speaks quietly. "That area houses the dangerous material storage. I can already see the crimson flames burning inside. This was no accident. It was deliberate." In the moment of the explosion, the Sword Saint glimpsed what appeared to be a teleportation magic formation. "Are they actually bold enough to openly raid the Academy's headquarters?" One of the professors pushes back. "That can't be right. The vault walls are protected by powerful anti-teleportation magic and can withstand most explosive spells." But Professor Ariel alone sees through to the truth. She detects the Liquidator's energy woven into the smoke. My heart seizes. Professor Ariel's expression is grave. "They most likely use crystals produced in the underground laboratory to destroy the outer walls and disable the anti-teleportation field." I can't stay calm anymore. So Belly and Bradley's allies are behind this explosion. They actually dared to strike the Academy's own headquarters. Below, students continue to flee in chaos. Some are already caught in the aftershock, killed by the blast. Not long after the Academy comes under attack, Professor Ariel shares her suspicion. This was an inside job. They succeeded in destroying the teleportation suppressor and escaped. The Academy won't say it outright, but this attack was 100% orchestrated by someone in the upper echelons, from within. I start to push back, but Professor Ariel cuts me off. "It appears the Academy may no longer be a trustworthy organization, or perhaps it never was." I raise a point. "But if the Academy were truly under enemy control, they could use their influence to take whatever they want from the vault openly. Why go through all this trouble?" I think the reason they went through all this effort to blast the vault is precisely because they couldn't obtain those items through legitimate means. Professor Ariel acknowledges my reasoning. She doesn't know what the upper leadership is truly planning, but the most likely culprits are the bloodthirsty. Those parasites have silently infiltrated the Academy. Hearing the name the bloodthirsty, I think of Bella. Her parents were killed by the bloodthirsty. Professor Ariel speaks again. "You killed Bally and Bradley. You will absolutely become their target. Stay vigilant, especially when you're outside the Academy walls." I nod. "You don't need to tell me that. I already know." Afterwards, I grab my books and head to class. But when I arrive, the atmosphere is oppressively dark. Some students are visibly trembling. The mood in the room is suffocating. Is this because of the explosion? But moments later, I realize I had it wrong. They've received the notice for the outdoor march training. Outdoor march training, that rings a bell. I received the same notice not long ago. The person next to me thinks I haven't read it. "I already saw it," I tell them. "The training takes place in a zone overrun by Tier 1 monsters. 16 hours of marching and camp training every day with professors in attendance. An entire week of that, plus additional combat drills on top, right?" My classmate looks looks at me in disbelief. How can you be so calm about this? That's 16 hours of marching every single day, and monsters lurking all around you. You won't even be guaranteed a decent night's sleep. Just thinking about it, he's already dreading it. Apparently, more than half of the students drop out because of this training every year. I chuckle. In real combat, you never know when the enemy will strike. At least this one has a fixed time limit. Isn't that pretty generous? I think back to the training I went through with the Liquidator squad. There were no time limits back then. They dropped us in the mountains without warning and made us march through monster-infested forests for a week straight. During that training, some of us nearly died to monster attacks. But since professors will be with us this time, that shouldn't happen. There's nothing to worry about. Leonhardt suddenly chimes in. Of course, only someone at your level could look at hell training with a straight face. I laugh. Trust me, what I went through before was far worse than anything you can imagine. But seeing everyone so shaken, I can't shake the feeling that something dangerous is lurking in the shadows. I need to keep my strength up. Early the next morning, we gather in the main hall. At the entrance, 5 professors are assembled to accompany us for the outdoor march training. The Sword Saint steps forward. This will be grueling. Most of those who fail to complete it don't make it to their second year. I encourage you to push through. Avoid that fate. In what seems like no time, we arrive at a small island. The scenery is breathtaking, but I can feel it. Danger lurks beneath that beauty. I scan the distance. That must be the edge of the Winterberg continent. If I'm not mistaken, that region is almost entirely uninhabited. We set off and begin our training without delay. We march deeper and deeper into the forest, but once we're well inside the forest, the professors abruptly veer off down a different path. Professor, someone calls out, confused. That doesn't look like a path. The professor is well aware. That's exactly the point. If you're walking on a flat road, what kind of training is that? The group falls silent. There's nothing to do but follow. By the time evening rolls around, everyone's stamina is close to giving out, but Leonhardt notices, I look completely fine. The Sword Saint addresses the group. It's only been 8 hours. We're halfway through today's march. A few students are rendered speechless. Only halfway? And it's just the first day. You'll get used to it, the Sword Saint says. The hardest part is always the beginning. Before long, your legs will carry you forward without a second thought. Some students think he's just saying that. Who could possibly keep this up every day? But then again, they notice Leonhardt is completely unfazed. He doesn't look tired at all, true to his reputation as the top student of the sword arts course. In reality, Leonhardt is also struggling, but he fixes his gaze on the figure ahead of him and refuses to look away. That figure is me. Leonhardt thinks to himself, as expected of Gray. He hasn't shown any sign of struggle from the very beginning. A while later, someone finally breaks. A girl stops and says she's exhausted and needs to rest, and at that very moment, a spider appears right beside her. She spots it and her eyes go wide. Before she can even react, the spider lunges straight at her. With a sharp thwack, a blade pins the spider to the trunk of a tree. The girl spins around. It's me. Thank you, she breathes. I'm alive because of you. I tell her to stay alert while walking. Pay attention to what's around you. Some insects out here are venomous. If one gets on your face, you'll be in serious trouble. Leonhardt realizes I'm not just walking. I've been ready for any ambush the entire time. He can't spot a single gap in my guard. To maintain this level of combat readiness after 8 hours of continuous marching, he can barely imagine what level I've reached or how much I've trained to get there. My stamina is holding up fine for now. The training I endured before coming here is paying off. I still remember how brutal that training was. Getting a full night's sleep was a luxury we couldn't afford. But what weighs on me more is what Professor Ariel told me earlier, to stay vigilant, especially when I'm outside the academy. And this very training has brought us to open terrain with minimal security. Worse, the academy clearly knows exactly where we are. That thought makes my fist tighten. I just hope this training goes smoothly. I really hope nothing goes wrong. As the first day draws to a close, we gather together and stop. Everyone breathes a sigh of relief and wonders what the school has in store next. The mustachio professor steps forward and speaks. From this point on, we will begin the meal drill. Whispers erupt through the group. Finally, we get to eat. The thought of food makes them cheer with unbridled joy. The elation is so overwhelming it wipes away all the exhaustion of the day, and the fact that they're still in the middle of outdoor training. Someone is so moved they actually tear up. The professor said we get to eat, we finally get to rest. I don't share the excitement. The phrase meal drill gives me a bad feeling the moment I hear it, and just as I suspected, the mustachio professor fixes them with a flat stare. What on earth are you all talking about? Rest? Absolutely not. This drill trains you to prepare your own meals while on the march. You cook it yourselves. Understood? Just as I thought. The entire group freezes on the spot. Before anyone can react, the mustachio professor divides us into squads, balancing the strength distribution as evenly as possible. He snaps his fingers. Each squad will receive a meal kit. Begin preparing your food. A blackboard appears along with some supplies. I fix my eyes on the names written on the board. Squad C is led by Leonhardt, with a few classmates under him. And I'm the leader of Squad D, with 2 classmates. I'm not sure I can handle this role. Part of me figures no one would want to take orders from an Eye of God special admission student. I glance at the 2 beside me mid-conversation. So we're assigned to Gray's squad? That's right. I look up. A young man and a young woman are walking toward me with warm smiles. We've heard so much about you. It's great to finally meet you. I shake their hands politely. They're far more easygoing than I expected. Honestly, I half expected them to say they'd never take orders from someone who didn't even pass the standard exam. So I asked them straight, are you really okay with me leading the squad? The last one speaks up immediately. What are you even talking about? After watching the inter-year tournament, who in their right mind wouldn't want you as their leader? After that tournament, every student and faculty member in this academy recognized you as the undisputed top of the year. Don't you know that? You're the most reliable choice here. The short-haired guy adds, either way, we've got the gear ready. Whatever you tell us to do, we'll do it. I genuinely didn't expect this kind of response. That tournament must have left a serious impression on them. The thought makes me clench my fist without even thinking. So this academy really does only judge by ability, and I've finally been recognized for mine. mine. Master, if I ever get the chance, I have to share this news with you. At that point, a student raises their hand. Professor, there's no food in the supply kit you gave us. In fact, this box only has a pot and a fire starter. The professor responds, in an actual field march, you might have no food at all, let alone cooking equipment. Having a pot is already generous, don't you think? The class falls silent. Leonhardt steps forward. If I may, Professor, I have something to say. In modern field operations, there should be magically supported logistics in place, correct? It's hard to imagine a long-distance march where soldiers carry no food at all. The professor nods. Leonhardt is correct, but that applies to pre-planned operations. In emergency scenarios, mid-combat encampments, or when your supply line is wiped out, you may very well find yourself forced into a long-distance field march with absolutely no preparation. Furthermore, magical storage pouches are exceptionally rare and valuable items. Unless you're part of a large-scale force, you carry your own gear, just like you're doing now. When that moment comes, do you want to be the ones who die because they couldn't adapt? At that moment, I notice one of the professor's eyes is missing entirely. Everyone else notices it at the same time. They go completely silent. Leonhardt politely offers an apology. I laugh quietly to myself. So magical storage pouches really are that rare. When Professor Ariel gave me mine, I honestly thought it was just an ordinary sword bag. The professor tells us not to worry about him. I have some good news for you. Some of you may have already noticed. This forest is packed with monsters. During our march, we've been maintaining beast repellent. I'm about to deactivate it. In other words, you won't need to worry about finding food. The monsters will be delivering your ingredients personally. Good luck. You may leave your packs here. He snaps his fingers, and the beast repellent dissolves. The instant it dissipates, everyone feels it, an overwhelming, suffocating presence closing in from all directions. Every bit of it comes from the beasts. Within moments, eyes appear in the trees, watching. The students nearby nearly jump out of their skin. My Squad D teammates turn to me. What do? I assess the situation clearly. Our only option is to hunt monsters and eat them. That's it. I've been observing since we arrived. Based on the tracks and droppings, this forest has small to mid-sized monsters. If we follow these claw prints, we should be able to track something down. The girl in our squad is starting to panic. This kind of immediate real-world pressure is clearly too much for her comfort. Finding monsters in a forest this vast is going to be a nightmare, isn't it? If they're carnivorous monsters, it's actually simple, I say. We just move around and let them come to us. In other words, we use ourselves as bait. Either way, if we stay put, we'll end up competing with the other squads for the same targets. Better to spread out. If you really don't want to fight monsters, there are always insects and snakes. Insects take some getting used to, but snake meat is actually quite good. In a forest without monsters, knowing how to use those food sources is just as important a skill. The girl looks like she's about to cry. I'd rather fight the monsters, please. We're literally surrounded by them anyway. Snake meat? She could never. The others simply say, I'm the squad leader. Whatever I decide, they're with me. We make our way to a large tree not far ahead. I lead the squad in a careful inspection of the ground, searching for tracks. I crouch and examine the marks closely. A beast passed through here recently. I signal the squad to stay sharp. It's already on its way toward us. At that exact moment, the bushes behind us begin to rustle. One of my squad mates' eyes go wide. Behind him, a flame lion bear emerges. Its claws are already swiping straight toward his head. One hit from a flame lion bear, and it's over.